Let's see if this pops up. Okay, I think we're working now. All right, second false start. If you're tuning in on the YouTube channel, I have been live for probably about 10 minutes trying to figure out how to stream to YouTube. I'm live on Twitch. There's a lot of less errors on Twitch, for sure. But today we will be watching Zizarin's interview with Jonathan. Also thinking of questions to ask DM. I already explained this on the second false start. But me and Aaron will be having our Town Portal podcast, which is coming back after Aaron's 90-day subathon ended. And our first guest back will be Darth Microtransaction. Some people might know him as DM, or I don't know. I can't think of a third name right now, but trying to figure out how to get this promo image downloaded now that I have YouTube running. Okay. Where are you, Aaron? There we go. Download this. Copy image, save image. Save you the desktop. Let's call you this. Let's go into OBS so you guys can see it. Image. Oh, what is this? Nope, I'm not having issues. Just add one. Image. Okay. Desktop. Yeah, I should have had this all set up beforehand. I decided to just do it live. There we go. All right. Oh, wait. Resize it. So, 6 p.m. PST. So 9 p.m. Eastern for me. December 4th. We're having DM on the Town Portal podcast. So, tune in. I'll probably try streaming before then, and maybe I'll have my stream up. But Aaron's will be the official bells and whistle podcast to, jump into. All right, I'll pop this on later. That's it for now. Let me just say hello to everybody. Hello, everybody. Again. Let me pop out the chat for YouTube. About chat, so I don't have to keep this stupid window open. Awesome. And Luminaxar, Inferior Minion, hello on Twitch. And Ubergoob, Tyrant Tommy, Deku, Death Row, Mike, Thomas, Delta, Sits a Lot, Anthony, hello on YouTube. Oh, Luminaxar, thank you for the sub on Twitch. 6 months. Really appreciate that, dude. I will be getting some new icons once I figure out my life on Twitch, but for now I'm just kind of just doing it live, I'm sure people have watched this interview like 100 times. I'm just starting to watch interviews. I just kind of want to know, like, is this worth watching if I don't know anything that much about the game? Is there like more of a condensed interview, or just I should just watch? I don't know. Let's start this up. Talkative Try was so happy he was included in the Frosted Expanded Universe. Yeah, I saw him react to my first video. He said he told his mom. Oh god, I didn't have that clip in. Dudes, I clipped so many people for my react video that I just kind of forgot. I got so lost in it. I was just like, okay, can I add another person? I was like, okay, fine, I'll add another person. And I have like 12 people in that video. And to the point where once I posted it, I linked it to the people who I know's Discords. And thankfully Ghazi was up, because he was just like, dude, I'm not on the thumbnail. I'm just like, wait a second. Oh shit, I forgot to put him in the thumbnail. So I made him like center. And he's like, oh, I didn't think I was even in the video because I wasn't in the description. I'm like, holy shit. So I did the description and the thumbnail. If you clicked on the video in the first like 20 minutes, you saw an old thumbnail, but that is no longer there. Ghazi's in the center. But that's kind of like a relic of the past if you saw that old thumbnail. You need to take DM out of context more. I don't know how that's possible. I mean, obviously, I'll try. We have a pot. By the way, speaking of DM, for anyone tuning in, let's see here. We're gonna be interviewing him on Wednesday. It should be a really fun interview. He can confront me about me cutting him out of context quite often. And I have some of my own questions for DM, so that should be a fun time. Please tune in, 6 p.m. EST, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll probably stream before then, and I'll pop this image on like probably like 10 more times later. The last one had so many layers of reactions, it was hilarious. Yeah, Thomas, if you are semi new to my channel, I do that kind of often. I don't know, like half the time. I'll come out of the video, then people react, and I'll make a react video. There's only one time where I took it one step further, where I made a react video of everyone reacting. They reacted to that. Then I made a react to that. It was one of the hardest videos I've ever had to edit. I think it came out fairly well. It's called I Think We Overreacted. It's on my YouTube channel, and I literally had to cut it. Oh God, I think that was the start of the DM Loves Riker arc, so I think that's why it lived so long, and I was able to get like a third reaction out of it because I kept expanding it a little further. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do that for this though. There's a lot like kind of want to get some new stuff. There's so many people talking about Path of Exile 2. So many awesome lines. I think the fan favorite from this last video is me editing Jonathan Rogers out of context about how he's like, why the hell am I watching this? So I may add him into the videos. I think Positive Light, obviously, he's a Giga Chad massive gamer. I'm not gonna do him wrong. But you know, he might rip on some Diablo 4. It's always fun. Yeah, I know. I was just like, dude, am I really doing this? I was looking up, like, I was listening to an interview and I heard him say the word watching, and I was just like, already trying to find lines for people saying, like, what the hell is this? Why am I watching this? And I'm like, you know what? Let me just see if I can find some lines of him and just make it so, like, it sounds like he's saying something, like he's watching something he doesn't want to watch. Worked out really well, and he'll be back. He'll be back for sure. Patanis, your second video was great. Very nice editing. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. Skivim Games, you are a Giga Chad. Good evening, Tony. How's it going, dude? Tony Panic, not Tony LaRue or Cryo LaRue, as other people might know him. All right, I'm gonna get started on this. I have to, and if anyone has any questions I should ask DM that you're genuinely curious of, and don't worry, like, I have a bunch already down, so I assume people are gonna be asking me, do you love Riker? I have that. That will be asked. But if there's any other questions, feel free to ask me for me to ask him. Braxhart Zizarin. Oh, have a good night, Thomas. Yeah, dude, this is a stream. I do this sometimes. I'm not really the best streamer, I would say, but I try. And I'm going to be playing on stream because I fucking can't wait to play this game. That's the thing. I make meme videos, and I think going up until launch day, meme videos, you know, people want to see, like, I think people like laughing, they're like passing the time. Even on launch day, like, I'm sure we're going to see some meme videos pop out. I think Hog might have some in the works. And once the game launches, like, once you're in the game, you just, like, all you want to know is, like how, what class is good? What build is good? Where should I go? What's good gear? Guides, tips, tricks, things I wish I knew, how to 10 times your damage, all that stuff. So I don't know. I think I might come out with, people are saying, like, don't click on these guide videos, don't click on these like tier lists. They're just people who are like don't know really what they're talking about. I might come out with one of those guides or tier lists the day of the game releasing before the game is out and just be like the most perfectly accurate meta tier list or something and just have like a meme tier list that makes no sense. I don't know. I'm thinking of stuff. Will you have will you have streamers enough covering the D4 PTR for a new video? I think so. If not, I'm sure they're going to play it for at least a day or an hour or 2 hours. I'll have something. It may not be a full video, but I might just be like, all right, guys, now let's check in on the Diablo 4 PTR information and just have one guy just be like, it's aight, it's mid, and then just like cut away. Now back to PoE2. I don't know if there's enough content I can make a full video. I don't think people care to watch a full 10-minute video on the PTR for Diablo right now. So I think it'll be a short part of a PoE2 video or a small video. Oh shit. PTR's out tomorrow? Oh. Oh geez. Okay. What it Oh thanks, you like my glasses. What is check above, please? I think I saw you say it the other day. I don't know what that means. That means I have to read above. Oh wait a second. I got suggestions for something you can do video with a collection of deaths, reactions, and PoE2 campaign to bosses. I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I'm sure when okay, here's the issue I have with when games launch. When it when a game launches or an expansion launches, all the streamers that I cover, they do like 24-hour streams or 36-hour streams, and if you're Rob, like 60-hour streams. I have to download the video to get the best quality, and that's how I'm good. I'm better at sifting through it that way because I can bring it into my editing program and just like triple speed and watch things faster. But a 30-hour stream is like 34, it's like 40 gigabytes, maybe even 50 depending on who they are. I run out of space pretty quickly. Like I'm sure many of you are on your computer and you're just like, well, I have to uninstall a game to install another game. Well, I can pretty much keep one game and download 4 of those streams. I do have an external hard drive. I have 2 external, actually, hold on. I got this external hard drive, this external hard drive, and this external hard drive. They're all 2 terabytes and they're all filled with all of my video content. And I've just ran out of space from these last videos. So I need to go through and just be like, you know what? I never think I'm going to go back to this and just delete some stuff. 500 terabyte disk. Unfortunately, the big storage devices are spinning drives. And that actually might be a good idea. I can put all these hard drives on that spinning drive. Like they're usually cheaper. And anything that I'm currently working on, I'll do a solid state drive. Yeah, that might work out. I should have bought one for Cyber Monday. All right, whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna watch this interview. If anyone has any questions for me to ask DM on Wednesday, we're gonna have a podcast. God, I was gonna pop up the thing. I was gonna be all professional and shit. And here we go. Look, there it is. Wednesday, December 4th, 6 p.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern. On Aaron's Twitch, I'll probably be streaming a little bit before then too. And there you go. All right, I'm gonna listen in on this.
Joined here today by Jonathan Rogers, director on Path of Exile 2. Thank you so much for being here.
No problem. I mean, it's always good to talk to you. We've done a number of these interviews, and I honestly, I'm always happy just to just talk to whoever's got good questions for me. Honestly.
Yeah, I've tried to do just that. So I've sent Jonathan some of the questions ahead of time just so he could prepare. We could have a little bit less.
Oh, by the way, hold on. How is the volume of that? I again need to get better at this. So I'm all right. I think it's the same as me.
I've tried really hard to not
We're
have
good. We're good with the volume, guys.
For a few that I really want to push back a little bit on.
Pretty good.
A little bit about.
Sure. Sure.
But yeah, it was honestly it's been so many things that's been changing. So while like making
a little low. Okay.
Have they answered this? So like it's yeah, but very excited for this. So I want to start with
sound quality's kind of
an interesting question for me personally, because
jeez. Ziz's sound quality was kind of ass. I thought it was okay. Good. Hold on. I can hear it back. Yeah. I mean, mine's probably pretty ass too. I pretty ass. Okay. You know what? Luckily, I don't clip myself out of context.
PoE2 is so different than PoE1. And I don't know how familiar you are with World of Warcraft, but a big event there for me was the Gates of Ahn'Qiraj opening with like...
I play World of Warcraft.
Basically the server coming together and working on something and that affecting like a little bit of the future outcome. So have you ever thought of doing a league like that?
Okay, Ziz adjusted his volume. I didn't do shit.
Depends on how us as players perform during the league.
Here we go.
As a quick example, like maybe we lose the war towards Breach or we win the war and that like changes the future league.
It's something interesting. I feel like we did something like this before, but I'm trying to remember which thing it was. Wasn't it like Tempest, actually? Like, I feel like Tempest had a mechanic like this, but maybe it was like really not obvious. Like, it's actually the kind of thing I am interested in doing. We just haven't really kind of ended up with a league design that kind of wanted to do it. Because you have to be really careful with that stuff that you don't, like, it can be frustrating for players just because, okay, probably not the thing you're referring to, because that's the whole like coming together and actually like towards a single goal over the long term. But we've had a few mechanics where playing the league affected before, and I think Tempest was one of them. Where like I think it was that one where the more people who farmed something, after a certain number of people had farmed it, it actually the mechanic moved us to another location.
Oh, that's cool too.
And yeah. So that was kind of interesting. But like I think that we sort of decided for that particular case that we weren't like that happy with it, because I kind of had this thing of like, the idea of unfairness of like, oh, you have to like, someone says like, oh, this happened in the middle of the night, you need to wake up and do this, and so we kind of weren't happy with that. But I mean, the thing you were saying there about the gates, I mean, like that's pretty cool. I just like, I guess you have to be prepared for like both outcomes and then exactly what you're gonna.
Jonathan does sit like a king. Like, I'm sure the meme has been done. Like someone has photoshopped him on like a throne. I bet. Like it looks too good for me to not think that that's ever happened before. Oh shit. Azriel, thank you so much for the sub. Hold on, let me say what kind of sub. The first gift sub, dude. Thanks so much.
To do in both cases, like it needs to actually feel like it had a meaningful impact.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be the follow-up league. Like it could be something that you do half a year later or something. Like say that we have to kill like 6 billion monsters, and if we
ask
don't, like
DM about paper towel rolls. Okay,
but yeah,
I guess I'm also kind of into the idea, although maybe people aren't, of like you create like a thing
natural redhead. Got it.
Once you've achieved it, unlock something for all players. Like that kind of stuff could be potentially fun. So I mean, there's stuff you could do there, but I don't have any plans for it in particular. Like I haven't actually thought too much about this kind of stuff, but yeah, like I don't know, it's kind of interesting. I'll keep it in mind when we're doing the next league design for sure.
Nice, cool.
Question for, because okay, I've spent the past 2 weeks just making meme videos, and I know very little actually about the game. Is it starting with a league? Is it starting with like pre-league 1, or are we just going to get like do what Diablo did where we have like 2 weeks of learning the game, then a league's going to start? No idea. Does that no one asked that question to Jonathan yet? No league during early access as far as you know? Okay. Just wanted to make sure. I don't mind that idea. What I did hear is that early access could end after like 6 months. They might actually launch in 6 months. The latest 1 year, which is not bad at all. Okay, sweet.
So I have a few questions about stash tabs.
It's okay for caps. I do that too.
The first one is for things that don't have a PoE2 equivalent, like let's say Blight, right? Are we just not getting a tab at all, or are we going to instead get like a regular premium tab or something like that?
Yeah, so currently you don't get anything, and basically that's because we still want to be able to potentially add that content later, and then at that point that tab will be, for that league. So if we gave you something now, then we'd have to I guess read only the other. If we gave you a bonus tab now, we'd have to give you a read only one or something like that. And effectively, the main thing is that we're trying to just make it so that where it makes sense, the thing you bought before will work. I think that for the particular one you mentioned there.
Yeah.
I suspect that in the future there'll be a time when that will work again, and so you're kind of going to be good in that regard.
Okay.
But I guess it might be it is worth bringing up though that if we get to the point of literally we're never going to use this ever in PoE2, I suppose we could consider having a replacement tab for something like that. But at least for the time being, we still intend that a lot of that stuff still gets used anyway.
That makes sense. Yeah. Now the next question is also about stash tabs. And
stash tabs.
I remember at some point there was a big discussion about consolidating normal tabs and letting people make quad tabs. Now, if I recall correctly, the reason this didn't go through is there was a big issue with database problems because we already have stuff in remove only tabs, right? PoE2 doesn't have this issue.
DM about the stash
is there a chance that we can, for example, there's quite a lot of people like me that have 100 normal stash tabs and would like to merge 4 at a time into a quad stash tab. Is that something that could be an option now with PoE2?
Let me think about that. So it's certainly not something that we've done. I suppose we could potentially do that. I have to say that I'm personally not a huge fan of the quad tab overall, just because I understand the gameplay utility of it, but it's just, I don't know, there's something about it that sucks a little bit to me of just about the way that it just, I feel like you don't appreciate the items the same way. Now, admittedly, if you're just playing the game and you're you don't care about this at all, right? I understand that you don't, and so it's fine. We've got that option. But it's just one of those things that I've kind of never really loved about it. It kind of makes the items just look a bit lame, but whatever. As I said, I understand that in practice, for a gamer, it's you don't care about
Tony.
that. I guess it's one of those. We haven't done this. I guess we theoretically.
Do you know what? You know what really made me feel like Jonathan was a Giga Chad? A few interviews ago, he was just like, so I had my friend over and he was playing PoE2, and I was just like, whatever the friend ended up saying to him, that didn't matter. The fact that he has basically a LAN party, or he has friends over playing video games, is fucking awesome. I never hear anyone on the Diablo 4 team being like, oh yeah, my friend was over, or I was talking to some people and they were playing D4. They never mentioned that, or it's just I don't even feel like they're real gamers. But this dude is 100% a gamer, and you want that kind of person creating a game you're going to be playing.
Might be able to do that, but yeah, as I said, it's just not something we've done.
Yeah, I'm a very big fan of the quad tabs, and I actually it's funny you brought up Tempest. That's actually where I ended up buying 100 normal tabs.
Dude, they don't have it where you're loading it from stash tabs.
Right. And I was new at the time, and when you're new to the game, you don't want to get rid of everything. So. The next question is, we've seen on the PoE health bar that there are numbers now, right? So we have basically damage numbers in the game. So I wanted to bring up, have you thought about letting us have a literal target dummy?
Ooh, target dummy.
Okay, so we've thought about this for sure.
That's a no.
The concern that came up the moment we discussed the target dummy is, okay, what resistances does it have? What what all this kind of stuff. Basically there'd have to be state how much armor does it have? How much evasion does it have? All these things. And so then we started getting into you'd have to have some way to set these values, right? You'd have to be able to be okay, I'm going to set up a target dummy with this particular amount of armor or whatever to simulate whatever boss it was. And then we're kind of okay, should we then have a thing where you can select okay, here's a boss that it's going to be equivalent to, and then that would be how we could to do stuff like this. And then we're kind of well, hang on, at some point you just got the actual boss itself, you might as well just use that. And then we're kind of well, Like maybe the target dummy kind of then is like not kind of like it starts to lose its utility then, you know? So the whole chain of reasoning kind of came from all of that stuff. Like I do understand like where you're coming from though, if you're saying that's not good enough. But
I think you're overcomplicating it a little.
Yeah, right. So you reckon target dummy with no stats? So
you could do a test
literally
dummy.
A target dummy with no stats. If you really if you don't want to overcomplicate it, you could even have two, right? One that's the equivalent.
Yeah, dude. Typical GGG problem. If we do it, has to be perfect. Also, I mean, him saying he's overcomplicating it. That's some people might say that's a PoE1 thing. But yeah, I mean, D4 has got a real half-assed test dummy. It works. I don't think people are going to care that much if like you can't test everything. I don't know. Just do it.
Like let's say Shaper, right? Or literally just like one boss and one normal monster. But even if all you give us is a target dummy with no resistances and no nothing, that is like already a lot better in my opinion.
Right. I mean, I'm definitely like I'm actually kind of like probably fine with this.
Epoch is training dummies?
Like as I said, the main concern was that. So it's funny because like anytime you're discussing a feature like this, there's always all the questions of like, okay, so then what are people going to immediately ask for the moment we add this? And so that's how we end up down the path of like, oh, it's like going to require this or this or this or this, and then all these things. And then that suddenly the feature is killed because of like the feeling of over complexity. So I guess that's just sort of explain like how that sort of stuff occurs. But I mean, look, if you're saying it's fine with no like with no stats at all, like maybe it's something we could consider doing. Like I'm not really opposed to it.
Zizarin says do it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people want it. There is a lot of people that don't as well, but yeah, figured I would bring it up.
Just do it. I mean, you don't have to use it.
Out of interest. So to hear the case for people who don't want it, like what do you think is really the behind that? Because I mean, I've heard this argument from some GG people before, but as far as people in the community, like what do you reckon is the reason for like no target dummies?
Wait a second. Okay, before Zizarin explains, and I guess people have watched this before, but do any of you like not want a target dummy or a test dummy? Like I didn't even know there was one in last epoch, and I'm fine with that. Is there a reason to just not want one? Yeah, Jonathan's interviewing Ziz now. I like that. I mean, I do like back and forth questions when interviewing people. I hope DM asks me some questions. Like I'm sure he has a few. Speaking of which, bam. Podcast, December 4th, DM, Aaron's channel. I'll stream beforehand. You're down for target dummies. Oh, you want a target dummy with a Diablo mask? No Riker? No, not yet. Not yet. But who knows? Maybe soon. You'd like one? Counter time DPS. That's all I need. Yes. Just DPS counter. All right. I mean, like, people just want to test dummy. I don't see. Okay, let's see what Ziz says.
Let's.
Also, I'm new to the community. Is calling him Ziz like not respectable? Should I just always say Zizarin? He reacted to my video for the first time, I think, the other day. He's in my newest video. He was very sick that day, and I was like, damn, he's sick, but he's still reacting. Ziz is fine. Okay, all right.
See, I'm seeing so many people say I do want it. Someone said we have POB, don't need dummy. It would feel too competitive.
Right.
Misleading numbers.
True.
I'm trying to like pick out.
Well, they shouldn't be misleading. So long as the target dummy actually emulates a real monster, the numbers wouldn't be misleading, right?
Okay.
So then that's the argument, therefore, and then that exact thing there is like, oh, well, that's why you have to have, the ability to simulate a given actual enemy.
Sometimes less info is better. I don't know. It's hard to see like reasons.
No one really has a reason. It seems it's just like we don't have it in PoE1,
the next topic
so we don't want it.
Is going to be a bit of a longer one and a bit of a discussion. I want to talk about what the current state of portaling out at bosses is, and then talking a little bit about pausing and logging out as well.
Yeah. So basically, so you can't portal out of a boss fight. This was something that we tried for a while to make it so that you could portal out of boss fights, but with timers and stuff like that. But eventually, we're just kind of like, you know what? Why are we even trying to do this? Let's just completely ban it, and then that way we don't have to worry about like all the potential kind of like rules and weird stuff about like, oh, you stand at this location, the boss can't hit you, like random stuff like that. Like it just effectively removed a lot of potential exploits. And I think that probably was just a straight up improvement. There's been actually a few other changes we've made. Like this is something probably people will never notice, but you can no longer swap your gear in the middle of a boss fight either. That's been now disallowed too. And like a few other things like this. Like these are just things that, like, once again, people probably won't normally run into if they're not trying to do some kind of exploit. But effectively, like, we just want to make
Ziz is your go-to for PoE. Is Zizarin just like, again, I'm new to the PoE world. Is he like in relation, like when I go to a Rax video, is he like that for PoE? Just like he's got really good information, he's got good guides, like the vastly knowledgeable. Okay, he is. All right, yeah, okay. So I'm trying to think. I want to get a nice variety of people in the PoE space for my videos, and I think Zizarin, Ghazi are two that are definitely made it into being regulars in the videos. I just want to make sure if I'm like, oh, Pox. I mean, Pox literally said I can just use whatever. So him flat out saying it means I probably will end up using whatever. Okay, so yeah, he's like basically like the go-to for a lot of people. Used to be a pro gamer. Biggest, most famous streamer around PoE. Oh yeah, I did see the gauntlet before that he organized. He was like simulcasting it. It was like awesome. I was like, damn, that was freaking next level streamer. Hey Brow, how's it going, dude? Oh yeah, let me pop this up, Brow. So yep, podcast, Darth Microtransaction, Wednesday, 6 p.m. I'll probably stream a little bit before then. If you have any questions for me to ask DM, let me know, and I will ask them. Bro, I showed that like 8 times already, so just so you know, that wasn't the first time. I didn't just see your name as like I got popped that up. All right, let's continue.
Make sure that, like, when you're actually in for a boss fight, you actually have like a proper experience. Like, you have to actually overcome the boss without some kind of weirder forms of cheese that you might otherwise try to do.
So what happens if, let's say that a hardcore player goes in, they get 60% through the fight, and they realize they can't do this? What happens if they log out and wait until the next day?
So you can always log out, like resurrect
a hair care routine,
or like log out and or log out and just wait for time. So like it's possible to get out of a boss fight, right? Like you're not locked into that forever. So that being the case, like effectively, like, you know, like if you know that you can't do it, you can get out. And this is sort of an interesting question, because I know there are people who are kind of be like, oh, it would be nice if, like, once you've decided to do something, you're kind of committed to that action. But I just think that we probably didn't want to really go down that path, because it would mean that, like, I feel like that would kind of probably feel a bit bad, I think.
Okay,
and like, so the concern then,
so just from understanding, so from the first thing you said, I was under the impression that if I go into a boss fight, let's say I'm going to fight the Shaper, right?
Yeah.
Either the Shaper dies or I die, but then that's not the case.
No, that's not the case. So you can actually, like, you can bail.
What is a Shaper? Is a Shaper like Tomb Lord? Talk to me like I'm a Diablo 4 player. I assume it's a very popular boss. I've heard it before. Like, I know Pinnacle boss. So it's like Duriel, Lilith, Diablo. Okay. Endgame boss. Okay, thank you. Sweet. So it's a little bit more above Tomb Lord. Thank you. Imagine Tomb Lord if he's the only boss.
Choose to restart at checkpoint or like log out to back. Like if you log out. Okay, so if you just Alt F4, right? What'll happen is when you log back in, you'll be in exactly the same place you were, which is like. But that's more that the feature there is more about like trying to make sure that you don't like lose your place when you're just playing, right? And you disconnect for a reason.
Yeah.
But if you want to choose to leave the fight, you can decide to do that. Like that is okay. And just another thing with that, by the way, is like I believe that the feature where if you lag, that the game gets paused. I believe that did get done, which means that even if you just have like internet lag, the actual server will pause while the lag is happening. So then, regardless of whether you get disconnected or not, you're not going to die during the middle of an internet lag spike. And I believe that it might be like 100 milliseconds or something like that. Is like basically if your client's not responding for that amount of time, then effectively the whole instance just pauses and we're like, we'll just wait until you're good.
I have like probably 45 hours of PoE under my belt, so I'm kind of pretty knowledgeable about PoE. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I hear 45 hours is like near master level. I always hear people being like, got only like 5 hours and I don't even know the game. So 45 is like, I don't know. I'm kind of like a neckbeard when it comes to PoE, I would say. No, I beat the campaign like 3 times. First time I had no idea what I was doing. Second time I did Fox's Righteous Fire, so I was running through the game winning. And the third time I had like some kind of legit build. It was like a lightning arrow build. And I felt like I didn't understand this Settlers League mechanic. So after I beat the campaign, I stopped. I was just like, I felt a little overwhelmed, So I'm gonna give it a real shot in PoE2 though, guys. It's gonna be my main game. I have literally no other games to play for a long time, so this will be my main game for at least a few months until probably Monster Hunter Wilds comes out. I'll give that a fair shot once that comes out. All right. Settlers was awesome.
Before we keep going again. So that's how that works basically. But yes, you can leave.
Yeah. So could you walk me through the difference real quick? So will I have to log out and wait 15 minutes, or will it be hitting escape and then clicking like leave fight?
Yeah, so if you hit escape, there's a button there called respawn at checkpoint, and effectively that will just mean that you can...
With Path of Exile 2 launching into early access soon, we've had a lot of players asking for pre-download to ensure that they can play on launch. To accommodate this, we'll be making the standalone PC client available to download at 5 p.m. on December 5th. So one day before, you can download the game on PC. When they say PC client, I assume it's all the PC clients, including Steam. So that's pretty sweet. I do wish they told us the size. I'm thinking it's going to be like 90 gigabytes. So that's pretty sweet. Thanks, Brow, for the article there, dude. Hope no one data mines, but good. Okay, look. So the data mining, like they said they didn't want to come out with the game because people were data mining, right? And it would spoil the game for people, right? It's one day before. It's like 12 hours before. Are people just like who they like imagine you don't want anything to be spoiled. Could you go 12 hours without clicking on a link saying this is what it's in the campaign or data mined information? Basically what, I don't want to get into it, but what the Faxtra Life people did was essentially far worse than probably what could have been data mined. They're just like, this is exactly what's happening. This is what the game is like. When you data mine something, it'll be like, oh, we found out there's Uber Shaper. I mean, that might be pretty detrimental too. And then you'll see like a YouTube article and it just says Uber Shaper confirmed. It'll be like in the freaking thumbnail. Okay. All right. That can be annoying. Avoid YouTube and Twitch if you don't want to be spoiled. I think Twitch is actually safer than YouTube. And I mean, I'm planning on maybe even having a video out the day of. So I'm literally going to have a video out. I'm telling you to avoid YouTube if you don't want to be spoiled. But I'm not too worried. I like that you can pre-download this because it's 90 gigs. If everyone tries downloading it at once, look, I'm just guessing it's 90 gigs. People are going to be really pissed off if you live like where Rob lives in Germany or something, or in Alaska, and you're just like, well, I have to wait 4 hours. And then once they wait the 4 hours, now they're like 10,000 in queue. I love this. This is great. I'm going to be pre-downloading it. I don't care. I can avoid clicking on links that say spoilers here and shit, but all right, we're good. We're good. Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually look up any information on the Faxtra Life stuff, so nothing was too ruined for me. I don't really want to talk about it here because I don't want to ruin it for anyone else who's not seen any of that information. Oh yeah, Germany's fine. Where Rob lives in Germany is like in the countries. He lives in the Alaska of Germany, so he has very slow internet. Yeah, I'm not trying to Germany has completely fine internet. I'm not trying to start a anti-Germany internet situation here. It's where Rob lives in Germany sucks. Rob has Starlink. Starlink has problems. It needs to be updated. You can ask Hog about that. I think Hog uses Starlink also, or at least he used to, and he had a lot of problems with it. So, you know what, back to the interview. We got off on way too much of a tangent here. Let's get back to PoE2.
And yeah, at any time you can choose to do that. Now, obviously, the concern with that, like, and we actually discussed this quite a lot internally about, like, should that be okay? Because there was like a whole discussion with this of like, the fact that there's just a button you can do to press this kind of like would mean that like, oh, it's like even if you see like a slam coming, you'd be able to like push escape and just like push that button before it arrives. And that is the case. But the thing is, if we required you to log out and wait 15 minutes, that would kind of be lame too. Like, I don't really want to like, and the counter argument to that one was like, oh, but like that's at least more friction to actually doing this. And it's like, well, yeah, but then do you really want the strategy to be that you have to log out and wait 15 minutes? Like, it's just kind of lame. So in the end, we kind of decided to do the more, I guess what I would call player friendly thing of just like, you know, that option is there for you. You can leave if you want. So effectively, yeah, in some sense, I suppose you could say that that's kind of equivalent to the old F4 you could do in PoE1. Yeah. But you know, it's that's kind of where we ended up anyway.
So just to confirm, this does not kill you on hardcore, right? Oh, I lost audio.
Wait, no, it doesn't. Oh, sorry, yeah, it doesn't.
Okay.
But let me just think about this, because I feel like
that.
I'm just getting a memory suddenly of us talking about that as well.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that that's I'm pretty sure that that's fine. But I feel like I remember.
The concern I would have there of why that would be a bad thing, and I know a lot of people are against logout macro,
right?
And I actually thought it would be something like a 2-second portal you'd have to cast, and then it would fully reset the fight, and you have to go again.
Right.
The reason personally I'm not a big fan of like having to commit is that you end up over farming so hard to the point where you go in and you know there's a 0% chance of you dying, right?
Right.
Like as a normal shaper for now. Whereas like if you can die, it's a lot more fun being able to go in before you're ready. So that's awesome. I'm very, very happy with that.
Yeah, from what I've seen from the posts about the servers, that they are planning on having the servers can host 1 million people. Is that correct? Like 1 million on a shard. So not a shard, server. So I don't know if it's divided between Europe and US, the servers, or East, West Coast, but each one or in total can host 1 million. Did you guys see that when he said that, or was an article about that, or maybe I saw that on Reddit? 10 million players worth of instances. Okay, so there's 10 instance servers. Each one can have 1 million on it. Okay, got it. Sweet. All right, well, that makes me feel good. Maybe Amazon actually was just like, look, dude, we know this game's gonna be big. We want you to have 0 server problems. If they, oh God, I already said the other day, if they have 0 server problems and it launches the moment they say it's gonna launch, I have to give away a game. I know, like everyone's giving away games and shit, but you know, I don't stream that much, so if I give away a game, it's a big deal for me. But hold me to that. If there's server issues, I'm not going to be streaming the lead up to it because I have to go to work. I'll be home at like 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, because that's when I get home from work. And I'm going to pop on the stream. I'm going to try to log in right away after that. And God, okay, so what am I starting with? Okay, I'm starting. I was 90% sure I was going monk and like 10% ranger. As the days go by, I'm like 50% sure ranger, 50% sure monk, and I'm leaning a little bit more towards the ranger. Just because, like, so many people are like, they're going monk, and I don't like going typically what everyone is going. I also do like bows, and I think it's the least popular starter class or whatever it's called in PoE. So what I'm thinking is that the market for ranger equipment is going to be like super low. People are going to see ranger shit and they'll be like, oh, look at this garbage. I'll take that garbage. But if I'm like a monk and like 50% of the servers are monks, or people on servers are monks, it's going to be real hard for me to do trades. Like, hey man, I kind of need this staff of like 1,000 truths. They're like, yeah, well, me too. I'm like, and then some guy in the distance like, someone say staff of 1,000 truths. I'll give you 20 million gold for that. And I'm like, shit. So I think I might go ranger. Smart move. Item prices will be lower on non-meta stuff. Yeah, that's what I think, but yeah, that's the thing. If I wanted to go Ice Monk, so if like the Sith Monk is meta, Ice Monk won't be. I just don't know. Do I want to take that chance? I don't know.
Answer.
I will mention, by the way, that there is a very old league flag. I don't know if it's exposed on the private league interface. It probably isn't, honestly. But there's a very old league flag that actually does enable a timer when you disconnect before you actually get disconnected. So if we wanted to run a league that had that functionality of where like you have to commit to everything when you do it, like because you'll stay in game, we actually could turn on a flag that would allow that. So I don't know if you ever want to run a gauntlet like that sometime, where you actually have to you have to commit to something like that, because it is possible to turn on. Yeah. So that's something we could do.
That'd be perfect. I think that's really good for a gauntlet.
All right.
A quick question as well. In PoE 1, we have the 6-second disconnect time.
Okay. Hello. Someone in Twitch named Hi, I'm Frosty. Counterpoint though, more people will be crafting items that would be great for the most popular classes once you do get the money. Oh, you can buy crafted items. It's not like Diablo where when you craft an item you can't trade it. So you can craft a really good item and sell it. Okay, so crafted, interesting. Yeah, okay. I'm interested to see how the economy develops. Yeah, crafting is huge meta. You could trade anything but gold in PoE. Oh shit. Okay. Only thing bound to your account is gold. Damn, yeah, you're right. This is not Diablo-like. This is not Diablo-like at all.
Timer. Is that accounted for with the 100 millisecond lag thing you talked about?
Okay, so effectively the 6-second disconnect timer is still like that is just like after 6 seconds of like you not being in game, then we just terminate the socket and you're gone. But because of the 100 millisecond pause thing existing now, effectively the 6-second thing doesn't like really matter anymore, because it's only important for, like because the instance is frozen anyway. So all that's doing is just making it so that like look, at some point we have to give up on the fact that you're not going to actually be able to come back again. In theory, we could actually increase that time now, because like there's really no downside to it being that long, or even longer, so that would give longer for the internet to recover. But I mean, I guess we just haven't kind of done one thing or the other. But the thing that's going to matter to you really is just the fact that after 100 milliseconds instances paused, you're not going to die, and how long it takes before we like actually time your whole connection out is kind of not really as relevant anymore.
Awesome. That's super cool. I can't remember in whose interview you were talking about it, but you expressed some interest in racing again and saying that that's something you considered revisiting now. But obviously you were cognizant of the fact that it's not necessarily what's going to like bring people back or bring revenue to the company, right? And you are a company. So I wanted to suggest, have you thought about having a specific like battle pass maybe, or even one singular item for racing, and telling people, look, if there's interest, we'll bring back things like Descent, etc., based on how much it sells for. Then like the racing community can literally contribute as much or as little and as there is interest.
I think that's pretty interesting. I actually did have another idea like a long time ago, which I don't know. Like this is a different idea, but we'll just see. I'm just going to see what you think about it, because we never actually did this, but it was a thing that I was interested in, and that was the idea of like effectively like pay to enter races, where it would be like, you know, like some number of cents to enter a race, and then you effectively, I mean, it's sort of similar to the thing that you were talking about there, I guess, except that instead of being for a whole season, it was just like individual races. And that was kind of an interesting idea. I was thinking that maybe people would be interested in, but I wasn't quite sure whether the community would like that or not. Like it kind of wasn't clear to me, and so we're thinking like, oh, you know, like 5 points to enter a race, and then because of the fact that the rewards. So then effectively the rewards of the race would have to be like cosmetics, right? Because obviously we can't give you rewards in the form of anything that would be player power, given that you need to pay MTX currency to enter. But effectively the original race rewards were alt art uniques anyway, and like effectively if we removed the actual part where you get the actual unique out of it, in theory we could do like skins and stuff like that as part of the rewards. We kind of discussed that, but I wasn't like whether I was just like very uncertain about whether the community would like hate this. So I'm kind of curious.
I mean, race rewards, is he talking about like first to like max level, first to kill a boss, and they give rewards out in the current game like uniques? Is that how it used to be, or still is? And I assume they would just be for the league, right? Yeah. Yep. One says yes, one says no. First to kill Maven. Okay. I mean, I don't care. I mean, why would I care? I guess if there's like a leaderboard to be like top one in the world, and that person has the one unique that's like meta that you can only get if you want to race, that'd be annoying. But like, I don't care that much. I'm never going to be in the top 10. I'm not going to be in the top 1,000. So let it happen. Let the races commence. Give them some rewards. Like, there are people who are just like, I'm not even going to touch hardcore right off the bat because they want to learn the game first. Screw it. Make it so first person to like beat the game on hardcore, get some special shit, and just let the races commence. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to see all the streamers start off their hardcore characters and just die. Like someone said earlier, I can make a video on all the death reactions. Would be awesome if there's a hardcore death race. That'd be so cool.
Just hear your idea about what you think about. I mean, the battle pass is similar, except that it's more of a like one-time purchase for a whole season, I assume.
Yeah, it's also I was thinking more of like even if it starts out with like a cloak that you buy that isn't like this wouldn't depend on you being able to play or not. This is like if you want to see more of this in the future. I'm more of a fan of free entry and then having a way for people to support and just being open with like, if this is something you guys are interested in, this is how you can show that you're interested in it. If not,
the battle pass thing, is sort of interesting because it already kind of is similar to how the racing structure was anyway. Where you get points and then like at certain thresholds you get, you get cosmetic. Yeah. So it actually probably does match more into it. I just mentioned the other one because it's something I thought of ages ago. Thought it would be interesting to see. But that is an interesting idea. Like the racing battle, it's actually a pretty cool idea. Like I'm interested in this for sure. Cool. The main issue really with that is just that the amount of bandwidth we have for making microtransactions, which is what we need to make for this, is honestly surprisingly low. Like we're so it's so ridiculous in some ways that like for a company that makes money from cosmetics that we don't have more people just working on that stuff.
Yeah,
dude, that is awesome. They're just like, I assume that D4 has a whole team of cosmetic creators because it's like more money. Like we want to make that. So they're saying they have like barely anyone making cosmetics to try and sell us stuff it's all about, most of their team is just making the game great. Oh, that's so cool. Also, side note, guys, this is going to sound like a real noob question, but I'll pop this up. In the interview I have with DM, he, I believe, got a puzzle box. I'm going to ask him if he got the div card, because I know these words, div card or custom unique option. I assume he got the div card because that's the most common one. This is the noob question. Can you explain to me what he got a unique? I don't have to ask my question, but what I was going to ask was, can someone explain what a div card is and does to me? I do have 35 hours in PoE. This is just more of like a test for you guys to see if you're true PoE fans. A div card is a figment of an object. Most unique items and div cards are player made. Get X card, you craft an item. Div cards have a set size. If you get a full set, you can turn them into and get items. Okay, so if I get like 1 out of 10, no big deal. But if I get 10 out of 10 of the same card, so now I got 10 cards, I've completed it, and it turns into an item, like a chest piece or a cool weapon, right? Exactly. Okay, sweet. All right, sweet. I didn't want to go. I want to. Oh, this is why I'm streaming right now. I need to figure out more. No, thanks, guys. All right.
No, we effectively need more people to be able to create more stuff like that, and it's like to already get more people for making existing cosmetics. So, I guess, if we had infinite resources to make that stuff, I would absolutely do something like that. I think that's pretty interesting. So it's just a question of where we get the time.
Yeah, that's fair. Awesome. It's just I'm such a big fan of racing, and I know a lot of people are, so
right.
wanted to bring that up.
It is cool.
I have a question from a community member in full caps lock. How do character names work? Is it the same as PoE1, or is it #1254, where multiple people can be the same name? So obviously, like, our accounts are hashtag now. Are our names still unique?
So we decided to just keep the names the same way they worked before in PoE1, for now at least. And the reason why is because, so with account names, you never really have to refer to account names very much while actually typing.
Yeah.
So that we wouldn't have had to worry about all the concerns that come around having to, like, know people's discriminators and having to, like, worry about all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
With character names, there's a few other details. So one of them is that they expire. So you don't have the problem where the space just exists. I assume you knew that about character name expiration. Because
I thought that was just done in Wave.
It didn't seem like you knew, but okay. So if I make a character Frosty LaRue on the first, let's just say there's a league, and I make it Frosty LaRue. League 2. Can I make Frosty LaRue in the second league, even though I have one now on, like, the Eternal Realm? Also, if I make Frosty LaRue, can someone else in the same league make Frosty LaRue? Or have I locked it out? Because I assume most streamer names are just going to be locked out within the first, like, hour. And I'm not going to be home for, like, hours. No, your character still exists in standard. You can't have 2 Frosty LaRues. Hey, Quicksilver, how's it going, dude? The game is going to take your Steam name. Okay. One name forever. All right. Yeah. Okay. I forgot to pop this off. All right. Overlay still up. I mean, look, was it really blocking anything? I know it's a bit annoying. But all right, yeah, you're right. Got to make it like special, like, oh, by the way, for new people coming in, bam. All right, let's go.
Waves.
It's not done on Wave. So effectively, 1 year after the character name has not been logged into, it goes into a pool of names that someone else could could create if they want to, and if they then do that.
Hey Darth, how's it going, dude? You're not gonna watch the podcast. You can't support that redheaded guy. All right. Well, look. I have some real important questions to ask you on Wednesday. I'm sure everyone here had really some nail biters, I'll say. I don't know how long you've been lurking here, so I'm not going to tell you what those are. Also, Darth, thank you so much for the Prime. I really appreciate that, dude. All right. I'm basically trying to tell people that I'm an expert at PoE. I have like 45 hours of gameplay under my belt, so I'm pretty much like how Rax is with Diablo. I know literally everything. And if you have any questions, just ask me.
Then the name gets expired for you. So effectively, like over time, like names will free up again. So that's the way that works. It's actually
okay. That's a good question. How long does? Don't answer these now, Darth. 100 gigabyte download take in Alaska. Got it. Because most likely that's what it's going to be.
Actually, just as I said, it's just as soon as you haven't logged into a character for a year, that's when
a character or the account?
The character.
Wow. Okay.
So I believe that's how. At least I think so. It's been a little while since
Holy
I thought about this, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the way that one works. And yeah, so because of that, like characters don't have quite exactly the same problem as
thank you for the 10 community subs, Darth. Thank you so much.
Because that's kind of how you know,
really do appreciate that.
That's kind of how you refer to people within
you just like
with the league. So we kind
of
gave me
30% of my subs.
That being said, if it became like a real problem, I'm open to the idea of doing the whole discriminator on character name thing. It's just that it would mean that you have to then have a situation where it's like.
So people who now subbed, you can use the Lilith emote, the Giga Chad Inarius emote, and the paper towel roll that I put on Darth's back wall, or that he is now photoshopped out of his back wall. That will be a question probably I need to ask too. What did you do with the paper towel roll, Darth? Got it.
Like, whenever you're doing a whisper, you'd have to like know, like, because you have to have like autocomplete for this, right? Like, you can't have discriminate autocomplete, and then that means you have to have the whole thing of like, okay, are they in your friends list? Are they in the guild? Are they in your party? Have they talked in chat recently? Have they whispered you recently? Like, all of that stuff would have to go in the pool of things that you autocomplete for. And I mean, look, it's like how Discord used to be, right? When it had stuff. So there's basically just a bunch of work that you'd have to do there. And I mean, we could do that stuff if we felt like we.
Dude, Adam Jackson knew what he was doing. Like, you don't just set up for a stream knowing that like thousands of people are going to be watching you and not check your background. He saw his background. He saw that there was a paper towel roll like attached to his wall. And he was just like, you know, he could have moved it over like 3 inches. His camera like half an inch, it would have blocked it. But he's just like, nah, let them see it. Let them see it. It was kind of a Giga Chad move, I will say.
We needed to, but we're going to try without for the time being,
cool.
And see how that goes. And you know, like if
Darth, you have a fake Lambo in real life. Do you have two, like one that works and one that doesn't?
If it's like a real problem, then we can always change it.
There are some audio issues, by the way. I don't know if the mic's too far away or something, but you're cutting out a little bit.
I'll try that. Hopefully that did. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what to do about it.
It's not too bad. It's just a lot of people are commenting on it.
Fair enough.
Awesome. So another question with that are, like, for example, I have the name Zizarin right now in PoE1.
Mm-hmm.
Will I have that in PoE2, or is it like fresh start from everyone and there will be a character in PoE1 and a character in PoE2?
Yeah, so the characters are separated in PoE1 and 2. The databases are just completely independent. So you'll have to race to get that one, I guess.
All right, I'm not getting that one. Cool.
Oh, geez. I'm not going to ask some of these questions. I'm sure Darth living in Alaska has heard a billion moose jokes. Okay. But I will have one moose joke. Actually, I heard, God, I was in like fifth grade, and one of my history teachers was just like going over random stupid laws in certain states, and I heard it's illegal to look at a moose outside of a plane. And I was just like, in Alaska. And I was like, why is this the case? And he's just like, it's because there were poachers for moose, and they would have these little tiny, like, small planes, and they get caught, and like usually they haven't killed something, and they're just like, when they got caught, they're like, they would use the excuse, we're just looking at them. So now it's like you can't even look at a moose outside of a plane. Now I don't know if he was fucking with me. I mean, it's fifth grade, it was a while ago, but that stuck with me.
So, a few other questions about runes. So runes, there are.
If this is gonna be like between two ferns, you gotta let me know. It's that was the original concept of a between two ferns. It's not necessarily that. Between two ferns can like, it's good for like a 10-minute, 15-minute interview, but it'll be some ridiculous joking questions, but some serious questions, some riffing back and forth. There's really almost no structure to it other than we'll randomly be like, now it's time to go to the other page where we look at something and talk about that random thing. And then there will be like a third part of the interview where it's rapid fire questions. You have like short answers. It'll be like, I don't know, like, where'd you do with your paper towel roll or some stupid shit like that. But it'll start off being like most likely general questions like, what's your favorite video games growing up and stuff. But I'm not going to give all the questions out here, but holy fuck. I mean, I've trained complete level 4. Your community contributed a total of 11 subs. Well, thank you everybody for subbing. Thank you, Darth. And I'll quickly read out everyone who has followed me, just so everyone knows I'm extremely dyslexic and I don't know how to read properly, especially people's names. So I will butcher your name. So geez. Hold on a second. Darth, thank you so much for the tier 1 gifted subs. I'm about to just start this butchery of a name fest. So the Vermind, Omega Cerbers, Swift Strikes, T Forkin for me, Ractor, Logic, Keys United, Alt F4 Enjoyer. I think I got that one right. Angst Assassin, Monstravox, Astriel, thank you for the gifted community sub. Lenny, 19, bunch of numbers. Nedroth, Two Which Way, Guzan, Terhervin and 666. Diarrhea Poopy Stinky. Thank you for the follow. Kevlar 07, Min Max Wax, Fox, Dr. On, Zniggy. I'm almost done here, guys. Snatch Go, Manot 21. Hi, I'm Frosty. I've already mentioned your name before. Blush Shark, Weef Wiz. Keef Wiz. Ensnit, I can't even say this. Gent. Gabriel 733. 69 Security Guy. Lord Jefferson. Adam. Pips. Dude, am I almost done? There's like 15 more. Hold on, guys. Smarku. Sleep Well. Deathspank. Blicken. Nostrum. Malakin. Christoph. Brownie. Moku. Rangerous Dom. Zankris. Just Butler. And Curvis 313. I did it, guys. Yeah, Deathspank. That's. Thank you all for the follow. Dar, thank you for the subs. Now we're gonna get back to. I have to learn things about PoE, so I don't seem like I don't know crap when I have the interview. Like I'm an unusual ARPG streamer. People, I want you to watch me if you want to explain to me how things work. I won't really be able to answer any of your questions. If you don't want things to be spoiled and you're just starting the game and you feel like you're behind and you watch a streamer and you're like, damn, they're kicking ass. They're like already in Act 2. Watch my channel because I'll be just starting Act 1 and I'll be going at a snail's pace. All right, here we go.
Obviously, like replacing the crafting bench. And
sure, yep.
In a way. And can you override them? Like, can I?
No, I'm not doing a Rogers one. I'm doing one with some redheaded dude from Alaska. He seems to know some things about PoE, and I had to ask what a div card was a little bit ago. Word on the street is you won the jackpot with a certain puzzle game, and got to ask you about that.
One over it if I want to change later.
You can't. So that's something that I guess we could potentially do, though. Like, I don't think I'm
Frosty. Just be a beginner and let DM talk to you like he talked to a beginner. That would help a lot of people because you know the questions that they'll have. That's kind of what I do. Like I usually do I always do the podcast with Aaron. I still have no idea how that ended up happening, but we'll have like the community director of Torchlight on, or like the main developer of Last Epoch, and he knows these games, and I'm just like, look, I'm coming from someone who just started playing, so how do we get to endgame? Like, what is there to do there? Is there any plans to like make things more user friendly for people who are new to play? Basically, I just have a lot of just questions that I'm just like, what is this? What is that? How does that work?
I'm against it. I'd actually have to talk to Rishi and Mark about whether or not we'd want to allow
Prime,
that.
let's
But
go.
currently, you can't at least.
Darth.
So
thank you,
yeah,
dude.
I'm very curious about this because from my understanding, one of the main reasons that you
I'm going to really pronounce your name correctly here because you subbed. Penguin Dubatima. I got that right? Penguin Dubatima. Thank you for the sub. Tombia Live. Thank you for the sub. Gotta hope Penguin Dubatina's here. So just tell me how close was I? Lumen Haxart, thank you for the sub, dude. Holy crap, I've like doubled my subs in this stream. Thank you so much, guys.
Move sockets from gear.
Oh my god. Okay. So many new yeah, it's great because there are so many new people to PoE. That style's way better than watching these guys. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll interview about some basic stuff, but like, you know, Darth isn't like a game designer PoE2, but I'm sure you know a lot more than I know. But if I ever interview someone on PoE2, I will be asking the questions that are just coming from complete noob because, you know, that's what I am. That's what I am in most games. I know Diablo, but is that, not trying to dig here, really not, but is that even a big deal saying that you know a lot about Diablo?
Is that you really wanted to have this new thing where you find a gear
DD
upgrade,
Kron,
you don't
thank
need
you
to
for the
fix
sub,
in
dude.
here, you don't need to like get it exactly how you need it to be, you can just equip it. But I feel like I actually love the concept of runes, but I feel like a little bit about how they systematically work sort of ends up canceling this, right? Where I will not be able to actually pick up an item and, wow, this is an upgrade. I will have to fix my runes. Maybe I have to farm them.
I see what you mean, but I don't think it's the same because the thing with so a couple of things with this. One of them is that when we're talking about the whole like picking up an item and having to change stuff, what that was mostly around is the idea that
are they talking
like
about
socket
runes?
colors
There's
and
no
so on,
runes,
right? Like I mean that you had to change like.
Wait. I know there's socket on gear in PoE, but there's no runes, right? Yeah, there are runes. Is that what the sockets are for? They're for runes? Yes, they are runes. How do runes function? Is it like D2 runes, or is it like D4 runes, or is it their own thing? Also, thank you, Darth, for the gifted sub. Oh my god, Djibouti81 got a gifted sub, dude. They're craftable rune words, just bonus stats. So it's not going to be like, this rune makes it so I get blink, or this rune gives me double shot on my arrows. It'll be like, this rune gives me better projectile speed, or projectile damage, or movement speed. Runes are like gems in D4. Some give stats. Okay. So there aren't gems, but there's runes. That's why there's sockets in gear, and skilled gems are now just in its own UI tab. Okay. I think I got it.
Either you have to chromatic stuff until the point where like you've actually got exactly what you had before,
live.
Or you have, which is like definitely way more annoying than having to just use a couple of currency items on your on your item, right? Like chromaticking to get to the right state like could be like very difficult. But or the other thing you might have to do is to just rearrange everything in your character and like, oh, this goes here, that goes there. I use different supports, something like that, right? So to me, that was like a much more arduous process.
John Exile, you got a gifted sub from Darth.
You're going to have the currency that allows you to add sockets to items. It's not hard to.
Thank you so much,
that currency. Like in the early game, it's a little bit more restricted, but effectively you're definitely going to buy. As you go through the game, you're going to have that currency in abundance, I would say. So I don't think it's like necessarily
DM best bartender ever, dude.
But sorry, I felt like you were about to say something there.
Oh my God.
So
no, DM has the best reactions to being memed on. I will say, like when you saw the hog video. Not only when you saw it and you reacted to yourself being a bartender, but just being with all the PoE ladies, you just also everyone coming to your stream being like, did you see the hog video? I may have been also rooting that on. I was in Hog's chat being like, dude, definitely everyone go to DM. I think Hog was saying it, I was saying it. And then I don't know. If anyone hasn't seen it, there is a launch video for the Calguran Pirate, whatever, boat league that I have. It was my first PoE video. I think it's like it was a month or two ago. And the entire, like a quarter of the video is just people going into DM stream being like, have you seen the hog video? And then at the end, like Ghazi's just like, he's trying to talk to Ghazi about something, and then Ghazi's like reading chat. Things are exploding because it's like the game's about to launch, and he's not really paying attention. He's like, "Did you see the hog video?" I don't know, guys. I'm not doing it justice to it. I'm better at clipping things out of context and forming them. I would check that out.
I'm still a little bit worried about this because you don't have the ability to change that later.
So effectively,
okay. Darth, don't talk about Moana 2. I will be asking you that on Wednesday. Ask Darth how Moana 2 was. Okay. I mean, you feel free to talk about it. I'm going to not look at it.
In terms of fixing resistances, the sockets are more of a thing that you would be worried about early game for those kinds of stats. When I say early game, I kind of mean like during the campaign, right? Because during the campaign, you're like, okay, I've got low on this resistance. I want to get another one of those.
Thank you, Darth Microtransaction, for the gifted tier 1 sub.
I'm too worried about overall, like as I'm changing items going up. As you're going through the campaign, you're finding new base types, you're getting new things, you're kind of constantly upgrading. And it kind of hasn't really ended up being a thing where I'm worried about that. If you equip a new item and you're like, I lack this resistance, generally speaking, I'll like, oh, okay, well, I'll add another socket or two to this, and then I'll get the resistance rune out of my stash and use that. So it's kind of ended up being a thing where like just fixing that resistance tends to be a problem that you do after deciding to upgrade it anyway. So that's kind of been okay. And it's worth mentioning that with the runes, because they're kind of like, so at early game, they're more powerful than they are at late game because the values, there's only one value of each for each type.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
this
means
is important
that, like,
shit.
game,
Give me. I need to pay
the
attention
resistances
to this.
you're getting from the value of each more powerful that with the runes, because they're kind of like, so at early game they're more powerful than they are at late.
Okay, runes are more powerful early game. So I find a rune, socket it right away.
Game because
Darth, you are spamming T1s. I love it. Thank you so much, dude. Wicked QQZ gifted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much, dude. Holy shit.
The values, there's only one value of each for each type.
Yeah.
So that means is that, like, early game, the resistances you're getting from one of these resistance runes is like extremely huge relative to the other resistance sources you would get.
Gotta rep the hog community too. So Wicked DQQZ is gifting 5 subs in Hog's name. Thank you so much. Hog is the man. Also, speaking of Hog, if you wanted to see we had Hog on the podcast. He was like our second or third guest. I did a 3-minute song video, all animated, called Hog's Secret. And I would suggest watching that. That's one of my, I think, I spent a little too much time on that animation for what it was actually meant for. It was just meant to promote Hog coming on. And I think I spent like 3 nights animating that. And it's just like, I went so hard on that animation. I ended up using the Rod Ferguson moon and background later on in the when all the streamers were in a band together. So I did end up using an asset again, so that wasn't too bad. Okay. All right, going back to the interview.
But as you get later into the game, the runes are less effective at solving that problem because the numbers are not stacking up compared to the mods you could get. And so as you get towards the later game, the things that you're going to be wanting to be socketing are more of the soul cores, which have the different mods that aren't kind of designed to fix those early game problems. And also your character has more mods overall and is generally kind of more in a good place. So it really is in terms of fixing problems you have, it's more of a first sort of 30, 40 levels kind of type deal rather than after that, if you know what I mean. So I think for that purpose, they work really, really well. As for changing them, I suppose we could allow it. I don't actually see a reason why we couldn't do that, although, as I said, I haven't talked to Mark and Rishi about it. But I guess the feeling here is that because you got to choose it, it's not quite the same as feeling like you need.
You just got a private message saying you've received a gifted sub from DM. Yeah, DM is spamming gifted subs here. Thank you so much, DM. I was cackling and my sister was watching a movie and came down to check and see if I was okay. What, okay, about names. Beautiful Pow, were you cackling right now or are you watching one of my older videos? Deep Lore, it's almost 12 a.m. CST. 3 more days. 3 more days, guys. 2 a.m. here in Puerto Rico. All right, DM, thank you so much, dude. Have a good night. See you pop it up. DM will be on the Town Portal podcast this Wednesday, December 4th, 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. EST. I'll probably stream an hour before then. It's going to be awesome. And again, thank you so much for all the gifted subs, DM, dude. You are the Giga Chad. Super funny, awesome dude. PoE, Giga Chad, PogChamp. All right.
To be able to remove a mod that you would have from one of the random sources where we have some random ways to get rid of it. So that was kind of the reason why we're thinking
no, can go the way. I'm not who will quit as soon as the skill tree opens. You mean the passive skill tree? I think we're ready for that now. I think we've gotten over that. Okay, it looks intimidating. But when you actually start off, it's you go Ranger. I allegedly have played the game and I allegedly went Ranger. And when you open up the thing, you're just you have 2 node options, faster attack speed or more range damage. And you're just oh, okay, that's pretty simple. and you after 3 nodes, it's just like 30% increase agility or something. Like it's like pretty intuitive. They're not going to leave. There's a lot less bullshit, I think, and confusion in the PoE2 passive skill tree. And look, guys, I played over 30 hours of PoE. I know what I'm talking about.
Where that has, but as I said, I don't think there's necessarily a downside to allowing you to replace it. So maybe that is fine. I just haven't thought all through all the repercussions of that yet.
Yeah, I mean, for example, like I normally play SSF. Well, I actually have been playing a little bit more trade lately. And
Djibouti, Moana 2. I'm gonna watch that eventually. And also I'm gonna ask Darth about Moana 2. It's a pretty important topic.
Especially for trade, right? You could see like a perfect item you want to buy of somebody, but they've like got these like garbage runes in it. So I could see that being an issue as well. It's definitely like I'm trying to go into PoE2 with the approach like, well, I haven't played it enough. I'll see how it is, but that is definitely something I'm very worried about, and hopefully something you'd be open to feedback with when we actually try it.
Right. I mean, I'm definitely always open to the feedback of that. Yeah. But as I said, I think from actually trying it myself, that hasn't been a problem I've run into particularly. But, I guess we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. That's fair. How rare are like the...
Look, guys, I'm not going to lie. When DM was in here before, I love that it was given subs, and I really appreciate it. But like, not being... I think everything was fine. I just kind of felt like, like how like... maybe a stripper would feel like when you're getting dollar bills thrown at you. Just being like, okay, that's cool. I'll give you some more attention. Thank you for the dollar bills. I don't know if that's a great analogy, but like I just had to tell you guys how I felt a little bit at the moment. I'm not saying it's anything bad. It was great. Like I loved it. It was awesome. Maybe I should have a different career path. I don't know if I'm going to make a lot of money that way, but just had to share that.
How rare are the rarest runes, basically?
I didn't even take my shirt off. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't like a tier 3 sub.
So the runes themselves are not particularly rare. You get them fairly often. Like, I mean, you'll get, in Act 1, you'll find 4 or 5 of them probably, and then it only increases from there as you get more monster density and so on. So like you're finding them. And generally speaking, like if you're in Act 2, like maybe there'll be a rune that you want that you don't have, but then by the time you're in Act 3, I would say you probably have the runes that you need. Like they're generally available.
It's really hard. It's hard to get used to people supporting you. It's kind of like it's mind-boggling that I like even just talking in a channel and people be like, oh, it's Frosty. I'm like, oh, wow, people said hi to me. That's cool. That's really cool. And it happened again recently. And it was kind of like, I don't know if you got, oh God, it's semi-embarrassing. Not as embarrassing as what I just said, but I played Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail when that was out. And I watched a content creator called Mtashed. And he came out with a PoE video today. I don't know if he's just was a paid thing or if he's actually going to be joining the community or not. And I was just like, hey man, welcome to the community. Or I said like, hey man, are you going to be joining the PoE2 community? Because I'm thinking to myself, like, this is someone I used to watch like back before I even started content creating. I'm like, it'd be pretty cool if I just started cutting him out of context. And he like messaged, he sent me like, he just responded. He didn't even call me. He didn't say Frosty or anything. He just said like, I don't know, you think I'd be able to get in? And I just was like, damn, I felt like pretty cool that he even responded to my message. So I still get kind of like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know the words for it, but still very in awe of everything that's going on with my YouTube stuff. I'm glad everyone likes it. I hope it's like I'm not upsetting any of the content creators. Like I never want to do anything where I'm like, oh man, that might be mean to a content creator. I won't do that, or try my best not to do that. And however, if you are a multi-billion-dollar company, you're fair game. You're fair game in my book. If you mess up in a game, I might make fun of the game, but I'm not going to make fun of a person in particular, unless you are the game director of a multi-billion-dollar game or $1 million, whatever. I'm not sure how much Diablo made. It was a lot.
That are the ones that are like the, it's actually a struggle to find the ones you need of these, because that's where the kind of, and the higher level gameplay is.
Right. And would you say there are soul cores that are at the rarity of like Eternal Orb, Divine Orb, like that type of stuff?
I don't know the actual numbers, but I would definitely think so.
Videos
Like,
are definitely
they're definitely
Thank you,
hard to
dude.
find
Thank you, Sir Duncan.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh no.
Awesome.
Oh no, I've been clipped. So DM was in here before. When DM was in here before, I love that it was given subs, and I really appreciate it. But like, not being, I think everything was fine. I just kind of felt like, like how like maybe a stripper would feel like when you're getting dollar bills thrown at you. Just being like, okay, that's cool. I'll give you some more attention. Thank you for the dollar bills. I don't know if that's a great analogy, but like I just had to tell you guys how I felt a little bit at the moment. I'm not saying it's anything bad. It was great. Like I loved it. It was awesome. Maybe I should have a different career path. Oh my god. Oh, man. I don't know if I'm going to cut myself out of context, but maybe. I think, you know what? Maybe I'll have that in so when I do the podcast, I will probably end up having Aaron might have the full podcast on his channel, and I'll just have a highlight reel, and I might have that in there. Also, hold on, I think we got, oh my god, I get a follower goal. Thank you all for following. All right, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna get through this interview. I've been streaming for an hour and a half, and I only got through 30 minutes of this freaking interview.
Next up, how does like stacking ailment works for like stacking multiple of the same?
Right. So effectively, so in general, ailments don't stack, right? In order to get the ability to stack them, there has to be some kind of mechanic you're getting.
Yep.
Usually that mechanic will have some kind of that mechanic may have some kind of explanation for like any specific details you have to be aware of. But I guess the main thing to understand is that if you're doing something like stacking poison, the way that works is that all of the poisons that you do will always be on the monster.
I might be doing this, like,
and they're all running.
Ranger.
But whatever, if you've got the ability to stack 2 poisons, then whatever the 2 largest poisons that you currently have that are on there, those will be the active ones. And then when one of those falls off, then the next largest will take its place effectively. So that kind of means that like that's kind of, I believe, sort of generally how like buffs work in PoE, where you've got like, if you can have multiple buffs on a thing, but only one of them is active at a time. So in the case where you're allowed to have more than one, it's just effectively whatever the highest N buffs are that are on the character, that's the ones that you get effectively.
Doesn't that sound pretty shitty? Like if I'm hanging out with all of like my poison ranger bros and we all just attack a target like a boss, it's only being affected by one of our poisons? Is that what he said? I don't love that. I was planning on going like maybe the chain lightning to start if I am going ranger. I'm already talking like I'm going ranger. Holy shit. Each bro has his own stack. Isn't it per person? I thought it was. Oh, let's rehear this. I'm not finishing this tonight. All right, let's go back. Here we go. Let's listen to what he says, because I think that's what I heard.
All of the poisons that you do will always be on the monster.
Yeah.
And they're all running. But if you've got the ability to stack 2 poisons, then whatever the 2 largest poisons that you currently have that are on there, those will be the active ones. And then when one of those falls off, then the next largest will take its place effectively. So that kind of means that like that's kind of, I believe.
Okay, he didn't mention multiplayer, and also that's Mark's realm, multiplayer. So if just for yourself, it takes your largest single or largest 2 Okay. All right. Still might not. Okay. It would be stupid if like it doesn't work with multiple poison bros.
Sort of generally how
it's per person. Okay. Thank you.
Like buffs work in PoE, where you've got like, you know, whatever if you can have multiple buffs on a thing, but only one of them is active at a time. So in the case where you're allowed to have more than one, it's just effectively whatever the highest N buffs are that are on the character. That's the ones that you get effectively.
Cool. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to know about that, but
yeah. No, not that I can think of. I think that answers that. That's really good.
Sure, fair enough.
Another question from the community: does mana and elemental leech exist?
So mana leech is a thing, but only for attacks.
Yeah.
And elemental leech, I believe, is a thing. There are probably, I believe there are probably like various mechanics around that will give you elemental leech.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be a lot harder. But what we're trying to avoid is mana leech for spells. Because that can kind of like defeat a lot of mechanics and so on. So effectively, that's the main thing. Everything else is fair game, but we just have to, you know, like it just depends on where it comes from. So yeah, that's kind of the basic idea.
That was a wasted opportunity to hear more about ailments and statuses. Hey, if you want to hear more about that, no, not really. I mean, it would have helped me out too much, but you know, good call. For being like, you know, wanting to know every aspect of everything. He could have really dived in there.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I know a lot of people are hoping for a spell mana leech, so it's,
that's the thing we don't want to do.
Yeah. Okay, next up, a few questions about crit actually. In PoE1, it's
as a non-D4 player here, are D4 devs open to these kind of discussions like Ziz was doing and give such inside vision? They were once. They did it once. They did some stream interviews with a bunch of people. And I don't know what it was. I think they were transitioning out of having the Joes, like Joe Shelley and Joe Pipora, were probably like at that point, we're never coming back on. Adam Fletcher probably got promoted and he's like, hey, we want to promote season 4. It looks great. Let's try and get some interviews with Rax, DM, like Rob, all the Giga Chads. And they did stuff like this only once during that time, but they made 2 mistakes. Adam Jackson had a paper towel roll in his back. And that's where the paper towel roll. Everyone just focused on that. No one cared what they said anymore. It was all about that. And Joe Pipora got a little upset at the beginning of an interview. And you know what? I'll show that. Let's get that up here. So he, I guess maybe I made a video about making fun of feedback, and he mentioned it, or he said he heard about it. He should have watched it because it was more funny. Like, I wasn't making fun of it. It kind of was. All right. Let's see here. Right.
Someone told, I haven't seen this, but like apparently there's like a supercut video of like us saying feedback on stream a bunch of times, and like it's like a meme. Guess what, guys? That's fine. You want to meme on us for saying feedback a lot? Fine. Go ahead, make your videos. Feedback from players, feedback on stream. Well, feedback we've received. We see feedback all the time. That's the feedback on Nightmare Dungeons. Extraordinarily negative feedback. Give us feedback. The point on
this tab.
Oh my god.
Someone told, I haven't seen this, but like apparently there's like a supercut video of like us saying feedback on stream a bunch of times, and like it's like a meme. Guess what, guys? That's fine. You want to meme on us for saying feedback a lot? Fine. Go ahead, make your videos. Feedback from players, feedback on stream. Well, feedback we've received. We see feedback all the time. That's the feedback on Nightmare Dungeons. Extraordinarily negative feedback. Give us feedback. The point on feedback, internal feedback, give us feedback. The PTR feedback, it is feedback. Looking at feedback as we play. Are you providing Rax feedback? on this?
I mean,
I might be giving feedback on feedback.
No,
That's part of my job. Community feedback. They process feedback. Interactive with feedback. All of this feedback. Community feedback, our own play experience. A certain feedback avenues, we give feedback to each other. Those internal feedback mechanisms.
I expect a whole lot of feedback based on feedback. We got a ton of balanced feedback. I'd be open to feedback from people, and then maybe feedback would be useful.
Just the feedback you're getting from content creators.
they have like the meme video of you guys saying feedback, feedback, feedback.
Someone.
All right, that's it. That's it. Thanks for watching that, guys. I can't talk about Joe Pipora or feedback and not watch that. That is, to me, one of my favorite edits. And literally, I just got all those feedbacks were just within one interview, well, 2 interviews. That's how many times they say that word.
It's almost like when you're building a crit build, you're supposed to be
It's very
100%
Diablo-like,
crit.
yes.
Is that the same in PoE2?
I would say
that is a paper towel roll next to his bed. Hi, I'm Frosty. If you're new to the D4 memes, that was a major thing. He just left it on his wall, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to keep that in frame. He knew what he was doing. That's where this paper towel roll emote comes from.
Of more like earlier PoE1, how it used to be, where it's like you can get there with various mechanics, but I would say that it's like it may not be the most optimal thing to do, just because like the stuff you're sacrificing might be too much in order to do that. Yeah. Especially when you've got like conditional crit mechanics. Getting to 100% isn't so bad, but like you're not always going to be meeting those conditions, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I would say that like we've tried to kind of keep things a little bit more in line in terms of having more like, as I said, just like the controlling the sources a little bit better and kind of making sure that like getting to 100% is actually like a real, like, as I said, possible, but kind of not expected. So I imagine this sort of expected crit would be a bit lower than that. And yeah, trying to increase beyond that is kind of not hugely valuable.
Okay. What's the main reason they're indifference? Is that just to like retain player power and not let it get out of control early?
I wouldn't say that exactly. I think it's more just that like ideally every mechanic, so like I'm just I am generally in favor of the idea that like there's the decision to not increase something more is not because you run out of sources of it, but because like there's a reason that you don't want to.
Okay, so Jonathan right there, I saw later in the interview, or maybe towards the end, he's hearing like random beeps or something, or high-pitched noises in his ear. So you can see that he's getting a little flustered. Like he knows how to speak well. He's very well informed. But when something random's happening in your ear, it like throws you. And the fact that he's able to just keep going and not mention it is pretty, it's a professional move, I will say. Props off to you, Jonathan.
To not increase something more is not because you run out of sources of it, but because like there's a
it's happening right now. He's doing the finger in the ear thing,
like a reason that you don't want to do that, because what the trade-offs are too much. And so effectively by keeping the values that you're kind of like can easily get to a sort of certain midpoint, you just avoid this, like you just sort of make it so you get that trade-off, like you have to make that trade-off towards the end of the range. So it's effectively like that. I think that's kind of really the main reason. Like, it's been a little while since I talked about this with anyone, but yeah, like that's kind of really what it came down to. We just kind of wanted to make 100% crit more of a like.
Oh yeah, you know what? It was Try's interview where he heard that high pitched thing. I don't think he's got a different mic. I think that thing goes off randomly, and I do some video production, live video production for my company. Not my company. I'm their editor. There's RF frequencies that you're not allowed to use. And I don't know where Jonathan Rogers, I don't know where they're located, but if they're in like kind of a big city area, there could be a lot of random frequencies going on, and they could be interfering with his headset, his wireless headset, and he can just randomly get hits or really high pitched frequencies randomly. So I don't know. That's just like a horrible thing to happen. But it definitely looked like he was being affected by his earpiece there. Like he like got real flustered and then touched in his inner ear. So that's just my thoughts. Who knows?
Very unusual situation rather than this is a common situation.
Okay. And do you think part of that is as well that, at least in PoE1, crit feels like the end game. Like you should go crit at some point, and you kind of want to avoid that as well. Is that part of it at all?
Boom mic. Well,
we're certainly trying to make it so that crit is not the only build. There was actually a thing that we changed. So, so here's a random thing for you.
Oh.
We actually had the change for a little while.
Random thing coming up. Kronak, thank you, dude, for the Prime. Joining DM today with all of his subscriptions. And also, I see before Terry's came back from a shower and DM gifted you a sub. Now you feel dirty again. Well, DM gifted a lot of people a sub recently, so congrats. Welcome to the fun emote club where I have like three emotes. I need to work on more of that. I spend most of my time editing YouTube, and then if I find some random time to play games, like I might stream it. I got to get more into the back end of Twitch to really just have some more fun things for people. Geez, I saw Ghazi with he's like a full AI persona on his stream that could talk to people. It's like very cool. I would love that, but not there quite yet.
So crit modifiers, and I need to get this correct. Like there are various crit suffixes in PoE1, and so there was this feeling that in PoE1 that if you're a crit build, you've got like you can make your build more powerful than what non-crit builds can, because the suffixes that are available to you as a crit build are like more powerful than what the suffixes are available to you as a not crit build.
Yeah.
So because of that, we actually decided initially to move crit stuff all to be prefixes as well, to effectively compete with the other prefixes that you could get that all increase damage, right?
Dude.
Yeah.
And so we did this for a while, and we actually found that like it actually made weapon rolling way less fun. Like in theory, what it was doing was making it so that, okay, you could get a crit weapon or you could get like a not crit weapon, and like they were kind of competing with each other. And like we did all the math and we're like, hey, look, now we've made it so that crit builds and non-crit builds are more in line with each other and they have the same level of power and items and so on. And we kind of thought that we'd done a good thing there. And then at some point we just realized, like, why is it the weapons just don't feel as fun to find in PoE2 as they do in PoE1? And then we realized that like this is actually part of the problem. So we actually reversed that decision and moved the crit stuff back to be suffixes again. And we've kind of tried to make sure that the suffix pool is actually reasonable in other ways for the other builds, like making sure that the suffixes are actually like make sense and there's powerful versions of like ideally it's like there should be there should be a level that each suffix can get to that is exciting, right? Like, and so like the question we have to ask ourselves is like, what is an amount of strength that if you got that on as a suffix that you'd be excited about that?
Yeah.
And so effectively like we're trying to make sure that there's actually like at the high end there are suffixes that are actually really good. And so hopefully we've restored some of the like possible power that you sort of can get from weapons, and I think that's sort of like as I said, I think it's in a better place. I don't really remember exactly how this was related to the original question anymore, but it was just something that came up in my mind.
Does that mean that at the high end, you don't want dead suffixes? Like I remember life regen for a long time and thorns, right? Would be
life regen.
You need to.
Life regen is like, at least in Diablo 4, by far the worst stat in the game. Period. I don't understand why they keep life regen. Sorry, this is talking about Diablo 4 now, guys, just for a second. They have like, you have like stats where it's like 5% increase crit, like 10% increase attack speed, plus 4 to a certain skill. And you have like 30,000 health, and then something can roll 100 health per second regen. And you're like, why does this still exist in the game? They were supposed to get rid of all the crappy stats in season 4, but they kept that. And some might say it's because, there still needs to be a shitty thing to roll into. I don't know if I believe that argument, but in my opinion, it's because it's probably has something to do with their spaghetti code. They can't get rid of that stat because they've never mentioned it. I'm sure people have complained about it, but they have such spaghetti code in Diablo 4 that I could imagine them being like, we just can't get rid of that stat because we don't know how. And I'm going to leave it at that.
You still want to have suffixes where when you get them,
Righteous Firearms, yeah. PoE probably has some reasons to use life regen, but Diablo 4 does not.
you know, you need to have bad rolls, right? But at the same time, we did say that, like, okay, whatever, when you
need to have bad rolls. Maybe that's it.
When you've got the higher tier rolls, that there are actually things that.
No, I think they're talking about bad rolls. Like you can have like 1,000 damage or 20 damage, and it rolls a 20.
Like that, the highest tier of something needs to be something you actually would be excited to see. Okay. And there are actually a couple of cases where the tiering system for mods, for rares, like, you know how when you've got, like, you know, T2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, just goes up to 5, like T5 rares. When you actually, if you actually get a T5 rare, it's actually possible, because we haven't got some of the mods, like light radius, for example. They don't actually have an eye level. There's no light radius mod that's higher than eye level, like 60 something, I think it is. It's probably like the highest one. It's actually possible that on the highest tier content with a tier 5 rare, that the dead mods like that are actually cut out of the mod pool completely. So it's actually possible that for that to be the case. Now, tier 5 rares are like rare as hen's teeth, right? They're actually like incredibly rare. Nice. So when you get one of those, like, you know, the mods on those are going to be really, really good, because, like, you know that the eye level of the mods you're going to get is like higher than a certain amount. I'm so excited
for that.
Okay, so like that means that there are just like really some really good stuff up there. But it's once again, can't remember where I was going with this, but this is like a thing that exists for the rare system. So the that can mean that some of the rares you can get at on the higher tiers can be very good.
Awesome, very, very cool. I'm very excited to hear that. Like, items is like my favorite thing in ARPGs, so definitely looking forward to that.
Items are my favorite things in ARPGs. I agree. I think one of my favorite things is items too. Like skills, nah. Skills and items are kind of tied in ARPGs for me. Then actually killing stuff would be number 3.
I want to continue asking about crit. Enemy crit in Path of Exile 1 can be a little bit weird with, especially, like, let's say multi, like the Valspar.
You like action? Wait, is there any action is also really good in ARPGs? Do we have any role playing? Is people their favorite part about action RPGs is the role play element of it? I'm not hearing a lot of that these days. Yeah, okay, the feeling of finding that rare item for your build can't be matched. So in terms of Diablo 2, when you find like a Shaco, like, I know it's not the item, but like you find a Shaco, you're like, oh hell yes, that's fucking awesome. Back in the day when you found Windforce or Grandfather, that's awesome. Now it's like, I guess if you find a Jaw rune, you're like, all right, cool, I can make my Enigma. It's always awesome to find that really rare item.
From like Tynvin or whatever he's called, or the Shaper Balls and stuff, because either the entire ability crits or none of it crits.
They said the uniques are going to be much better in this. Like, we'll actually have some that we're using, because I know in PoE1 what I've heard was most things are just crafted, and that's fine. I just want at least a few pieces of my gear to be like, man, I want it to drop from this boss, and then it drops, and I'm like, yes, I can freaking use this. Pretty much. Items in PoE1 can be build defining. When you get a perfect on your build is so hyped. Yeah. D2 rune words feels okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't love the rune words in D2. I kind of feel like it was a band-aid fix. I like the random unique that you needed for your build. Like when I found, finding a Griffin's for a lightning sork in D2 was like the best.
Enemy crit functioning similar in PoE2, or is it to the individual projectile?
So I don't think we've made any changes here, but I believe that the way that works is determinable by the designers as they're working on it. But I suspect it's one of those things that they probably
I lost all my
don't necessarily always think about, because it's kind of pretty, it's sort of somewhat invisible, you know, like, so it's one of those things that just doesn't come up in their minds. So we can control that, and I don't know whether or not. And as I said, the system works fundamentally the same as PoE1 did. I just don't know to what extent they've actually like used the features that allow them to control one or the other, and what situations that they would want to use one or the other.
Yeah.
I'm out of interest. Do you prefer the like every mechanic crits, or do you prefer just every projectile? I assume every projectile is what you'd prefer.
I'd way prefer every projectile. Obviously now I usually will end up building for crit immunity instead, and that's fine.
Right.
But I remember when I was a new player to Path of Exile, and suddenly I'd be standing next to the Valspark Exile, and it would just explode, and I'm like, what just happened? And somebody would like watch my clip, and they're like, oh yeah, he crit you, you're gone.
Right. I have a feeling that I mean, I suppose the question would be whether we should make per projectile the default option. It's one of those things that like I don't see a reason why we wouldn't. I'd have to talk to Mark about it, but yeah, that's probably reasonable. I think that the whole ability critting all at once is the default for some reason.
Yeah.
I think. So I'm pretty sure that if you run into that, it's because the designer forgot to add the stat that makes it so that it's just every projectile to that particular ability. So yeah, that's just kind of one of those random things.
Highly recommend the worst guide of Path of Exile. I saw that a few early last week, and people are reacting to that, and that's going to give me an overview and history of the memes of PoE. I think I watched like a second or two of it. I was like, I didn't understand what was happening. But next time I stream, like, I'm not sure if I'll be on tomorrow night. And Wednesday, I will be interviewing DM. Let me pop that up one more time for anyone new. Podcast, Wednesday, 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern, Darth Microtransaction on Aaron's Twitch. I'll probably be streaming an hour beforehand. And forgot what I was saying. Oh, I will try and watch that video maybe Thursday, because at that point it's going to be like, should I even learn anything on Thursday about this game? I'm just might as well meme a bit, because the game's going to be out in like 12 hours.
But for player skills, it's like one of those things that we really have to think very carefully
24
about.
hours to clear all
because there are
PoE
kind of reasons and not. I mean,
go.
like one of the ones that is tricky for this is Rain of Arrows. It's like should every projectile crit, or should every projectile not crit? Now, because right now every projectile has its own crit roll, it means that if you use like Sniper's Mark on a monster, and then you do Rain of Arrows on that monster, then you're almost guaranteed to crit it at some point, just because it hits so many times.
Yeah.
And that means that effectively the Sniper's Mark is like using it with Rain of Arrows is just like a complete win, because you just incredibly likely to actually trigger that. And so then it's kind of like, well, should we make it instead so that ability is like crit, the whole ability crits or doesn't crit? But then the problem with that is that it just feels super weird. Like there's something odd about the feeling of like I do a critical Rain of Arrows, and then you start to think like, should it look different so you can see that the whole Rain of Arrows is critting? Or I don't know. Like, it kind of just has some weird implications. So we kind of decided not to do it in the end. But there is a reason why we have both the abilities to do in different situations.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I'm definitely a lot less concerned about the intricate workings of how player crit works, because like the monsters aren't gonna complain. Yeah. No, it's a tricky one.
Okay, I'm seeing some talk about mirrors. I do know what a mirror is. It's an extremely, the probably rarest item in Path of Exile, and it lets you duplicate any item in the game. So, but it's so rare that it's like people have never seen it. Even if you've been playing since the beginning, you might still have never seen it. My question for people who've played Diablo 2, 4, and a lot of Path of Exile, how rare is a mirror? Would you say it's as rare as a jaw rune? As rare as a Griffin's helmet? A Zod rune? Or is it like closer to finding an uber unique at the beginning of Diablo 4's life, when they're like, there was like 3 in the world that found it? It's probably rarer than the rarest rune in D2. So there's like a 1 out of like 1 million chance of getting like a Zod rune. So it's like probably 1 out of 10 million. 1 out of 10 million kills of a boss. So if like 1 million people are playing PoE, It's probably more than that. So if 1 million people are playing PoE and everyone kills this one boss 10 times, there might be one person in the world that finds a mirror. Maybe even 100 times. Okay, so this isn't something I'm going to get. It's like if I happen to get it, is it... This is ridiculous. Another question. I'm guessing it's against the TOS, the terms of service, to sell an item for real money. Because I don't know, if I found a mirror, I might just be like, sell that for real money if it's that rare. They Okay, real money trade bad. Good to know. Good to know. I will not be selling anything for real money. Also, I found someone talking about, you guys have been following streamers for PoE for a while. It's not legal, or it's against TOS for a streamer to give you gear, correct? Like, if I find stuff, I can't give it to people who are watching me. I just have to make sure of that because I don't want to go against the terms of service. I'm pretty sure you could give stuff to viewers. You can't do giveaways on stream. It's against the rules to give it for subs. Ooh, it's kind of like I'm giving away stuff for subs if I do that, though. They have special rules about stream. Okay, I'll have to look into that because that's a big deal. I don't want to be I want to get in trouble for that shit.
Definitely would be a fun...
Well, I mean, look, I would be interested. I should talk to Mark about whether or not we should just have a policy in general. Just everything a monster does is always individual roles. Like,
yeah.
There might be a reason. There might be a reason he's against that, but I'd be interested to find out.
I'm curious how you feel.
It has a history. It was allowed for a long time, but streamers abused it to get viewers. I kind of like that because I do know people who are just like, they have a huge audience, they get a ton of gear, and they just loot Pinata like, hey, come into my stream, I'll give you a ton of gear. I don't think it's bad, but I don't know. Like, if I'm just given everything in an ARPG that I need, I get bored quicker. Like, I want to find that gear. I want to progress my character. It just feels weird. And then also weird that like people are doing it for like subs. So I can see why the rule's there.
About bosses, especially critting at all. Personally,
okay. MP would list stuff on trade chat for cheap. Everyone. Okay, so there's ways around it, and it's not like you're mass giving stuff away. All right, that makes sense.
I'm a big fan of like everything being static, right? And like not having mods and not being necessarily variable, because like there's some abilities that like, you know, you're basically effectively mathing out what you can tank, and then suddenly you get knock you with a big crit, and you're like, oh, never mind. So yeah, I'm just curious how you feel about that, like mods and crits on bosses.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, well, okay, so mods. I think it's nice to have mods personally. I think because I like to have situations where you've got the ability to like, it gives us an access to, because what having mods does, like on maps and so on, is the ability to make it so that a boss fight can feel different from a different time you fought it, just based on what the mods were. Sure. So I think that stuff's important. That being said, we did like the idea of having the static bosses for the top pinnacle content, just because that is a measuring stick that players can use against each other. So having that be like a static thing is kind of nice. Yeah. So that's why I like the mods. As for the crits, I can see your point for sure. Like, that is an interesting point. Like, should we crit at all for bosses?
Yeah, I was just curious.
I guess I don't really have I honestly don't really have an argument for why they should, to be honest. I guess the main thing would be just to make sure you've got enough variance, but then the answer would be, well, why do the players probably don't want the variance? So, yeah, I don't know. I find that to be interesting. It's not something that I've really thought about too much, I have to admit. Yeah, like I see your point about not wanting to have the crits for sure. So yeah, it's probably something that I'll have a chat to Mark about.
I was just very, very curious about the answer there, because obviously, like, we can just get crit immunity, but the feeling for me there is it almost makes it mandatory.
Right.
And I feel like in general.
Someone asks, will PoE2 have a headhunter? I've heard of that before. I'm not the one to ask. Someone in chat, will PoE2 have a headhunter? I did hear Mage Blood is not coming back, or at least it's not implemented yet because of the way flasks work. Yeah, Headhunter will be there. Okay, there's Headhunter. That's a bow, right? What's good about Headhunter? Someone let me know. It's a belt. Okay, it'll be different in PoE too. Okay. Kill a rare, you take their buff. All right, that sounds cool. Steals modifiers from rares.
In general, whenever something feels mandatory, like remember the cast on damage taken Immortal Cold Days and stuff like that, like it usually gets like changed or removed.
Right.
So
I suspect that the answer against this would involve basically like it's another like it's an axis of character development that we're removing. Like that's probably the argument that would be made against it. So then the question is, yeah, like, but I agree with you that if something's mandatory, then it's kind of like, you know, maybe why should it necessarily exist? So yeah, I mean, point taken, right? Like this is an interesting one to me, and I'll talk to the guys about it.
Ziggy wrote something really cool that I like. Let me see if where'd it go? Enemy crits should be conditional buffs you can see to and react to. I think that would be really cool. Like,
right.
Let's say that let's use Shaper Slam as an example, right? That if the Shaper Slam is about to crit, it like changes the animation and becomes maybe a bit slower.
Right.
That would be really cool. Because that does change the fight, but like I love that.
Yeah.
That would be way cool.
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
It's for me I guess for me the big thing is that like they look exactly the same. You have no idea if it's gonna crit or not.
Yeah. No, I agree. You know, and that's a very good argument. Like it is a very good point. I'd be interested to hear if Mark has any particular reason against that. Maybe he doesn't. Like it is a very interesting point.
Yeah.
Has Mark done any interviews recently, or is it just Jonathan doing the interviews? From my end, I've not seen. I saw Mark do like that major reveal, but does he not do these small interviews? Because he's the multiplayer guy. He's the guy working on the multiplayer team. So it'd be real interesting to talk to him about a lot of stuff. It's just Jonathan. Mark does PoE 1 interviews mainly. Okay. Mark did a few at the start. Jonathan is now the figurehead for PoE2. Okay, cool. Yeah, like, look, I'm sure the entire team is working on PoE2, even though, like, he does PoE 1 stuff. They got everyone focusing on the game, which they should. It's gonna be fucking awesome.
Cool. More questions about monsters. Do they still get charges? And if so, how do they work?
So charges don't have any inherent bonus anymore.
Yeah.
So therefore, monsters don't currently get charges. I suspect it's the kind of thing where we might come up with some interesting thing to use them for in the future. But currently, there's just no reason for them to exist, so they just don't get them.
Cool. A lot of people are curious about support characters and how they fit into Path of Exile 2 for those that want to play with their friends and make OP combos together.
Okay, I like this question.
So I would say it's sort of interesting, right? Because what we don't...
Look, I had no idea a multiplayer question was about to come. I'm happy this is asked.
Have is the support character in the way that PoE 1 had it, where it was like just a literal kind of AFK. Well, you walk around behind them, you don't really do anything. So I would say that, like, for that, like, we still have things like that. Like, you've got scepters and stuff like that that can give people bonuses. But I would say that support characters in PoE 2 are more along the lines of, like, I'm debuffing monsters actively, or I'm setting up things that don't need to worry about the damage in order for someone else to take advantage of them. These kind of things. So, like, you can make a support character that's going to like ultra slow all the enemies. You can make a support character that will do things like place like place objects that other people can use, or or for example, like make a character that's like armor breaking lots of monsters so that other people can take advantage of that, things like that. So I'd say that like that's kind of the role of that kind of stuff more. But what we don't have is just like I just reserve everything and like, you know, I'm just like an aura, like just a bunch of auras on my character, and that's kind of all I'm doing. So that's the kind of thing that we don't really have in the same way.
Dude just walks around and buff my group.
I think that generally answers that.
This is fun.
Next up, a little bit of a discussion of something that was brought up in a previous podcast. I have in my notes there, talk about respecing Ascendancies. I don't know if that's something you've like thought about or talked about more after the podcast with, I believe it was
Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to talk more about this. But I mean, look, as I said, it's still on my mind as something that I know players are concerned about. So like we will definitely have another conversation about it for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's really anything else to say about it at the moment.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, that's it. I'm obviously very pro respecting Ascendancy. So
yeah,
my argument would just be it's a very early place to make a permanent decision.
Sure, I understand.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. On to endgame like mapping.
Lavichan, you like the AI sound I made? Thank you, dude.
How much more rewarding should a difficult map mod like, you know, penetration or something like that be
Late
compared to chill ground or monster variety
style?
So I believe
penetration or something like that be compared to chill ground or monster variety?
It's way too meta of a question.
So I believe that so it's a very different situation in PoE2 than PoE1 for this stuff, because the rewards from difficult mods are not necessarily like the rewarding part of the map mods, because we've got the thing where the prefixes are like the rewards mods and the suffixes are the like bad mods. It means it's kind of separated those two things out a little bit more.
Yeah. Now
there is still a thing where the harder mods have waystone drop rate increases on them, and so I believe I believe that the harder mods there do affect that, but I don't think that is like quite so much of a big deal compared to how it was in PoE1, where like the item drops were heavily changed by that stuff. So like I don't know that, like, as I said, it's a very different situation. Now it's this is one of those things that I'm like, I really hope it works, but I don't know if it will. So I guess we'll sort of have to see. Like the dynamics of what people choose to roll and how people respond to that are going to be very interesting. I guess we'll just see how that goes. But what it does mean, at least with the current way the system works, is that it doesn't matter quite so much what the like the numbers we choose for how difficult those things are relative to like the rewards they give, because as I said, the rewards being given are mostly from the prefixes anyway. So yeah, I guess that's kind of related to that.
Cool. Yeah, no, I was just curious because somebody brought up the point that I think it was penetration and monster variety had basically the same rewards, so I was curious there. So that'll be interesting to see how that changes. What about things like /letter? Is that going to be the same or different?
It's the same for now. Look.
Sorry, I'm just reading something. So I hit 40,000 subscribers today, guys. I just wanted everyone to know that was a pretty huge milestone for me. I gained a lot the past week and a half. Literally, I think my last stream, I was thanking everyone for hitting 35,000 subscribers. And it was like, I was stuck at like 30 for a while, and then PoE2 come out with like a meme video, and a lot of PoE2 people came by and they were just like, hey man, this seems pretty fun. And then I was like, all right, well, get ready, because here's my reaction video. And if you're new, I do my react to react videos quite often. And that just kind of like circulated pretty well. I guess it's because I had like Zizarin, a bunch of MP, Quinn, like a bunch of people I don't normally have in my videos. And yeah, earlier today I hit 40K and I just was like, holy shit, this is awesome. So I'll just thank you everyone. Thanks for subbing and tuning in and enjoying my videos. And that's it. Just want to say thanks, guys. And yeah, Quinn freaking loved your video. Yeah, dude, one of my favorite things is to just watch people watch my video and just see them laugh and stuff. It's like, when I first saw Riker crack up to one of my videos, I was like mind blown. That dude is just so like upper, and I don't know. Literally everyone in the ARPG community is so nice, and I was a little concerned at first. I was like, oh man, are they gonna sue me because I'm using their shit in my videos? But that was the furthest from the case. Everyone seems to really enjoy the videos. They love it. I'm happy about that. And again, thanks everyone for subbing. And it's just been a fun ride, guys. We're gonna keep watching this, and that's it. Just wanted to say that. The ending song did it for you. Well, that's what a lot of people like, that ending song. I have the full song up. But that chorus is so good. It's so like late 2000s. Like it reminds me of a lot of other people of like high school, early college.
Look, we could probably do better with this. Like, it's funny because before we /ladder was a temporary cheat we added before PoE1 was released as a temporary thing. Before we added the ladder screen,
guys.
and then now we're releasing PoE2 and we still haven't implemented the ladder screen. Like, it's kind of absurd how that works. Yeah, we originally intended to have an in-game ladder screen, and then I guess the website kind of had it, and then we just never got around to actually implementing UI for it. Like, so all I could say is like, okay, it's been 15 years, but we're still intending to make a ladder screen in game one day.
All right, so 15 years from now.
Yeah, sure. At some point.
Yeah. The community is excellent to each other. Generally, drama does happen, but it's rare. It's rarely serious. Yeah. I think the ARPG community, from what I've seen, is like the best community. I've been a part of some other communities. I followed some other communities, and oh my God, coming from really when I first started my YouTube channel, you can see in my older videos, and I mentioned this earlier, I played gacha games, and I'm going to say gacha games is probably the second most toxic under competitive games. So usually like when you go to like a shooter games or like League, it's like super toxic. But that's just the community there. The actual content creators in gacha game spaces are like battling each other, and like they feed off drama because of their like weird 6-week cycle thing that happens, and there's actually nothing that comes out. I don't know. I hated this space. I decided to leave, and I'm so happy that like the first video I made on Diablo was just like did very well, and I'm chilling. I'm chilling in the ARPG world. I'm doing this for a while. Not going back to that crap. If anything, I might do something on Monster Hunter Wilds to just see how that goes. But realistically, I think PoE2, Diablo, Last Epoch are where I'm just going to be just chilling for foreseeable future. Gacha game content creators need money to roll more often. Oh yeah, yes, they need money so they can gamble more with their gacha games. Played Hawkeye Star before, and it's so money hungry. It is. Then randomly, Hog lives like 20 miles from me. I must have missed some part of the conversation there. Monster Hunter World looks so good. Yeah, dude, I'm playing Monster Hunter World, but that's at least I have a few months with this game. And then I'll probably end up coming right back to this game.
We'll get around to that.
Cool. Okay, good to know. And in a similar vein, what about, would it be possible at all for the community to get a more detailed API for things like that, like ladder and like making your own tools?
So I'm curious what more you'd want out of the ladder for the API, because effectively I believe that the API we have right now just gives you a full dump of the first, like, I don't remember how many it is it like 10,000 or something people, something like that? There's like some number of people in the ladder that it gives you. And as far as I know, it gives you everything you would need to have. So yeah, what else do you want, right?
Well,
there's two games I'm looking forward to this year, and it's PoE2 and Monster Hunter Wilds. And I'm considering PoE2 2025. I mean, it'll be out that year.
Like if you want something else, so I can add it.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. We can get you a list. So obviously, like I'm,
sure.
Yeah, it's a long time since I started computer science, so I don't have a list in front of me. But things I can think of off the top of my head would be boss kills, for example, right? For the events we do, that is one of the biggest things we want.
Like what? Oh, so you want a ladder for when? Oh, you want like a different ladder for when people have killed a boss?
Not necessarily part of the ladder, just like an API we can access for if somebody kills a boss or something. That'd be...
So you mean like, but so like, do you want like how many times they've killed a given boss, or do you want like have they killed the boss at all yet?
Yeah, have they killed the boss at all yet?
I think that we do have support for ladders of when people killed a boss, because like, don't we have that for certain events? I thought we did.
Only for the first person, I believe.
I have a feeling that the way that's implemented internally is there's just like effectively the amount of time until you kill the given boss, like as a separate ladder effectively. And then that would mean that like you could effectively dump a ladder of that, of like who was the first person to kill a given boss. So that's something we could probably do like relatively easily. I will say we haven't like thought about this for a long time. So
well, I
like,
can
it's one of those things.
I can get you like from like the guy who made PoE Racing and stuff. I can get you a list of like API things that would be huge for us. So obviously, I'm very involved in loving and wanting to do events.
Right. As I said, I think we do have actually like boss time, like time to kill a specific boss. But I'm pretty sure that what it is that like that had to be.
Yeah. Zizarin definitely seems like the Rax of PoE, where he's sending like notes to the developers, being like, "Hey, man, this might help improve your game." It's an awesome thing to do, but sometimes it's just like they get some notes and they're like, guess I got some homework to do.
To be specifically implemented for each boss that we wanted to do it, because I'm pretty sure that the reason why we had that was for like the original race seasons we did, where we sometimes had like different objectives, things like first to kill X boss. So I think it's still lurking around in there somewhere, so we might be able to like resurrect that. And like it would be pretty cool to have a ladder for like first person to kill the pinnacle encounters in PoE2 when it comes out, for example.
I do mean like Rax sending pages of documents to Blizzard. They probably get like an email from Rax and they're just like, "Oh shit, what do we fuck up on now?" Because like the dude's got like really good points and they really should follow what he does, and they do most of the time. He's like, "Oh, they really did work on a lot of the changes I asked them to do," and then the moment a patch comes out, he just goes through it and he's like, "The time to make the list. Time to make the list of everything I need to send them that they fucked up on." I mean, look. He does the whole thing with like what a boss should do, where it's like, "This is great. This is great. This is shitty. Change this. This is good."
We might be a little bit too close to be able to actually implement something like that, but like it's possible that it's just like a matter of like resurrecting some piece of code that's been sitting there and turning it on. So I'll actually look into that because that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, is there going to be any form of like yellow text announcements for like first to level, first to
Okay,
areas
all right, hold on a
stuff?
second.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Zizaran or Zizarin? I thought I was saying it wrong there for a second, Santiago. Also, I say all names wrong. I would go through the list of people who followed me, but thanks everyone for following. It's massive. I can't say it all right now, guys. I got like a few minutes. We're more than halfway done with this. I don't think we're finishing this tonight. We'll finish this up.
So I think that we have. So the leveling one, I think we only do it every 5 levels, at least for the first while, just because we don't want it to be like super spammy.
Yeah.
And for first to enter area.
Wait, hold on a second. Am I saying on Zizaran or Zizarin? Zizarin. That's it. I thought it was Zizarin, but then I said that before, and then Santiago was just like, "Do you say his full name?" And I'm like, "Dude, am I being called out? Am I being called? Did I say it wrong?"
I think that I don't remember exactly how that was gonna be. I think
look, people.
There was also some.
Half the people that did reactions to me called me Frosty Lou, and let's see. One of the first times Asmongold said my name, he called me Frosty Laro, and I think Rob called me Frostly when he first saw my videos. So half the people get it right, half the people don't. it's almost really funny when they don't, because then I clip it and I can use it later.
Concern. I mean, look, there is definitely going to be stuff like that, but I think that we just wanted to try and reduce the spam a little bit in some cases.
Yeah.
Certainly, you want like first to reach level, like past level like 65 or something. You probably want like everything above that to be like every single level, I would say, just because like that's a pretty important race and it takes a bit longer up there. So we've got stuff like that. I don't think there's any first to kill. Well, maybe there are first to kill bosses for the act bosses or something.
Well, my name is ambiguous, I guess. I mean, it's like Frosty Lou. I'm just like, is the R silent? Maybe. I'm not. Maybe. I think LaRue is like French. It's like Laux, or I think people even say LARU for LaRue, but I can't even remember. I was just like thinking of like, how should I spell this? And I was just like LAROO. And for the longest time, I was just like, damn, did I fuck up? Did I mess up on this name? Like, if I were to just, here's the thing, that is how you know you mess up on your name. Let me see. Okay, Google. Frosty LaRue. Yeah.
Here's what I found.
Okay, well, it says LEROUX is what Google translates that to. So yeah, LARAUX, it's completely wrong. So you can ask Google my name and it does it correctly. So if you guys are ever thinking about starting YouTube stuff, make sure you can say it to Google and it'll understand what you want. Because going forward, the new generation, I don't even know if they're going to know how to type. It's going to just be like talking to their phone, asking it stuff. And if that doesn't work, then you might lose out on a lot of your audience.
I don't remember the exact situation, but there's definitely some of that stuff. We just wanted to make sure it didn't seem like completely incomprehensible for like a bunch of new players who are seeing all the stuff for the first time. So yeah, we just kind of wanted to limit it a little bit.
Very cool. I love to hear that. A question from my community was, are there going to be free respecs during?
Okay, hold on. Let's see if this works, because some people don't even, they just say Frosty. Okay, Google. Diablo 4 Frosty video.
Here's Diablo 4 Frosty videos on YouTube.
Okay. It's the interview I'm watching right now. It didn't show me any of my videos. It just kind of brought up my YouTube. Whatever.
In the EA, if there's a big enough change, like right now, if there's a huge seal tree change on standard, you get like the free respec.
Yeah.
Because
so I'd say it's probably going to be the
yes.
same as that effectively. Like when we do a big change, everyone will get a free respec, and it'll work that way pretty much. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Somebody was particularly concerned because if it's respecing, is it only gold or do you have silver guy orbs? I can't remember.
No regret anymore. It's just gold.
Yeah. So the guy I was asking was, what if a big change happens and your build is bricked and you've just used your gold? You just log in, and you're like, ooh. Cool.
Generally speaking.
Wait, did AI generate this? If you're into watching someone navigate the treacherous waters of game content creation with a lighthearted approach, Frosty LaRue TV might just be your next favorite Twitch stream. That seems like, did you ask like Google, like AI about that?
It'll be that like the big patches that do the big balance stuff, we should get some. Now that being said, like I'm not going to say that every single like there will probably be patches where we nerf some particular thing, and then like that could hurt certain characters like that. That'll probably happen. Just because that I'm hoping not, but you never know. So yeah, like that might then cause a situation where you don't have a free respec for that reason. Because what we don't have the ability to do is like targetedly respec
Twitter
like certain
AI?
builds or anything like that. Like so it's effectively all or nothing. So
I don't
because
know
of that,
Twitter. I have like 100 followers on Twitter. I go on like every 2 months. I made it after my first video did well, and I was just like, I should have a Twitter, but like I don't even go on it. I never go on it. I should, Should go on it. God. All right, guys. It is it's 2 a.m. I gotta get up for work tomorrow. I'm probably gonna have to end this stream now. Just gonna say thanks everyone for coming, showing up. I am going to put on my this is crap. This is my stupid AI song to end the stream, so it kicks out tens of thousands of people. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Oh, let me pop that on. Shit. One of my bad. Okay, so podcast Wednesday, Darth Microtransaction, Aaron Action RPG's Twitch stream. I'll probably be streaming a little bit before then, and I will probably raid him. Most likely, because I don't know. I got like wireless crappy internet here, and I don't want to just randomly get kicked out in the middle of the interview. And I'm gonna play my song now. Thanks everyone for coming.
Diablo 4 super fan, but there's another game that holds my hand. Though I can't admit it in the light, Path of Exile keeps me up.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the follows, the subs, the likes, the 40k YouTube subs and all that. See you Wednesday, guys.
I say it's not what it seems. I'm just testing things, don't you see? But secretly it's my favorite dream. Diablo 4, oh yeah, I swear. I love it more than I can bear. But in the shadows I confess, Path of Exile is my true unrest. In the forums I pretend devotion, praising D4 like it's the ocean. But deep down my heart's exposed to PoE, it's clearly posed. I'm a secret fanatic, my love for Exile's tragic, cover it up with sarcastic lines. But PoE's where my heart intertwines. Diablo 4, oh yeah, I swear. I love it more than I can bear. But in the shadows I confess, Path of Exile is my true unrest. In the forums I pretend devotion, praising D4 like it's the ocean.